With AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Good morning, San Antonio. It is the Morning Huddle. Rob and AJ on a Monday, but there's hope, young friends. There's hope.
There's I hadn't lost it.
It's a 3-day week, Rob.
There we go. I wonder how many. I always kind of pride myself in doing like vet moves, like playing chess when other people are playing checkers.
Yeah.
Those kind of moves where you like sit back and giggle to yourself, like I'm so much smarter than everybody else. I wonder how many people took the right vacation days and just went ahead and ghosted the whole week.
That's what you need to do.
This is the right week to do it.
Well, it's 2020. Most modern companies say, you know what, just take the 4-day week.
Well, I'm not talking about like taking today and tomorrow, getting that free.
Oh, the whole
10
week?
days when you're only buying like 3 kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good call. That is a good call. Because you said something to me the other day. You're like, yeah, it's like we're only working like 3 days out of the next 10. It's like, wow.
And if you were truly playing chess, then you just bought like today and tomorrow and,
Yeah.
you could have bought some free when you add the 2 weekends together. You can add in a fair amount of time.
My plant would have died probably.
Yeah.
I got big things to worry about.
Well, but you got to. This is a big week. You're heading home. You got something to.
The show on Wednesday.
I'm headed home. You're headed to your summer home.
Yeah. Heading to
the other place you're paying a mortgage.
I'm going to my family, to the home that I pay a mortgage on.
The other mortgage as opposed to here. But see, I'm about to spend the 4th for the first time since 1995 childless.
Oh, why? What's going on?
Like, kids are doing their own stuff. They're all going to the river, but the plan was not to come hang with the parents. And normally we've had at least one, but it's going to be nothing but adults.
Are you gonna get drunk and have loud sex?
Oh, that's the plan. But see, the problem is it's also going to be, it's all the family coming in. So my sister's coming in, no kids. My brother lives in town, and they'll be coming in, no kids. And us, it's going to be kind of like back to when we were kids. So I think it's going to be a crazy weekend, man. I'm going to start drinking immediately. I don't have to worry about kids or anything like that.
So even your siblings aren't bringing their kids?
No, there's no kids. We're all getting together. The whole family. I mean, this hasn't happened since like 95. Like all of us married with no kids to get in the way. We're going to go buy fireworks. We're going to go nuts.
Have a hot dog eating contest. Glizzies.
something like that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
That'll be good, man. I'm looking forward to a little 4-day weekend.
I think the clock is appropriate, and the sporting gods knew what they were doing.
They did,
because this is a time we all need to head to the hills. Free agency is going to be done here in a couple of days. Spurs been busy. I think they'll be busy here, keep us occupied for the time being. Football hadn't really begun yet. How many fly balls in the outfield can you watch? And if you can maintain and just keep your sanity to see something that matters, watch some soccer. But everybody, it's time to take a little break, take a little breath, and come back on Monday of next week, and it's football season.
That's it. And we had ourselves a weekend. You and I did. We worked on the weekend.
We did. We do it.
I want people to know. I don't like to brag, but we're probably the hardest working show in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that Jason Minix and Joe Reinagel were not at the Spurs introductory.
By the way,
Minix
texted about 1:00, like, dude, I completely flaked on that. How'd it go?
I mean,
it's like, don't worry, bro. It wasn't that big a deal.
Don't worry.
We got a free burger out of it.
Don't worry. Rob and I did the legwork.
We did the grunt work.
The sound is available to you guys. Like you, it's basically like you were there, except without having to be there.
And let me give some love to my co-host here. Your very first presser, and for those of us that have gone through the politics of press conferences, my brother right beside me, in front of me, around me, stood up, asked, like, give me that mic, let's get some questions in. And for those of us that have been around the media for a minute, everybody kind of looked up like, oh, all right, we've got a new player in the game.
Well, and it's not first of all, don't get used to it, because
you asked very appropriate. It wasn't like you were trying to be like Baba Booey or anything like that, but I'm not a questioner in a press conference. I've never been that. I will ask the question if nobody else is asking. I'm not the one that needs to jump in and be the first one to think, how was the last 24 hours? I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy. And I turned to everybody around us. I looked at, and there was one guy in front of us. And I turned to AJ and I go, over under on who's going to ask about breakfast tacos.
Yeah.
And of course the question came.
There was one to each.
They always get the breakfast taco one, but you, my brother, grabbed the mic and asked, and I was very, and it was cool.
Sometimes they're like, these events particularly are like, it's all softballs. And I wanted to ask some questions that would kind of, we'd see what these guys are made of a little bit.
And you did ask, and by the way, you asked the best question as Castle about some of the things that nobody wants to talk about. Like when you come to San Antonio, we only won like 18 games, dude. You won't be all right. I mean, being winners and coming on to a team that's been kind of a loser for a minute. You ask them appropriate questions there. We got to hear from him. Saw the second round pick.
Harrison Ingram.
The other one, the Spanish kid.
Nunez. He doesn't exist. I knew it. I told you guys.
We hear tell.
They had someone walking around in a sheet. Like he looked like a sheet with eye holes cut out.
He had the wrestler. He was lucha'd out.
It was a sheet with eye holes. And they said, guys, this is Juan Nunez.
But he's got to go.
And I said,
can't stay.
Yeah, he can't stay. So he just did a little wave and then ghosted his way out of there.
Well, we were told he's pursuing his Spanish Olympic dream.
Yeah, he's trying to get his country.
Oh, but he wasn't there, so we got to meet the other two on Saturday in the lovely Rock.
It is a very nice facility.
It is a nice place.
Very, very nice. Mm-hmm. Very nice. And then there was like an awkward thing at the end where
I hate that.
We all stood around and watched Stefan Castle dribble and shoot. And finally, I was like, I think we were waiting on Ingram to come out, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to get out of here."
Judging a racehorse, I can't do this.
Yeah, this is
make
weird.
him run sideways.
So
make him run backwards.
Rob and I were the first to leave, but it was good because we got outside and we got in the line at the. I say the line. There was no line at the little food truck, and then maybe while we're sitting down with our food, out comes the 20 other people that were there, and they're all lining up. Suckers. Here we are. I'm drinking a cold beer. I'm done with work for the day, is what I said.
Radio, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Free food, we're going to be first in line.
That's right, Bubba.
TV sucks coming out late.
It was a pretty successful day, I must say myself. And then I went home and watched the organized violence. And I got to say, Rob, I think Alex Pereira brought spirits into the cage with him.
I believe that the kid was right.
He said, you know what? I understand you want to go man to man. That's not how I play, Bubba.
I'm bringing the ghosts.
I'm bringing wizards.
He whooped his ass.
He did. It like the first fight was really good and really close. This was not a really close competitive fight, and you could tell when Alex was landing on Yuri that it was like he dropped him at the end of the first round, and then about 10 seconds into the second round, he put a head kick on him that was that, friend. And
he was in the spirit world.
This dude is something, man. This Alex Pereira, and they're already talking about him moving up to heavyweight. He's already been a champion at middleweight and now light heavyweight. Like this guy is a special talent. So. As well, he and his mystical spirits.
I was about to say, how much is it?
I don't know how much. I shouldn't say talent. He's just got some gifts. Let's just call it that.
He's got help.
Listen.
Got help. All these spirits coming
I like to picture Yuri like back in the locker room after the fight. Like, damn it, he had the spirit there. I challenged him. I challenged him to no spirits, and he did not accept my challenge. But yeah. I mean, maybe Yuri should have brought his own spirits if that was the case, if he believes in him so damn much.
Well, he's going to have to go pray to something.
Man, do we have some news, Rob? There is a even newer than Castle and Ingram. There's a new San Antonio Spur.
Or is he? I have this jersey. I've had a number 3 with Paul on it before.
What?
Yes. We've had a guy with the last name of Paul that wore number 3 in our past.
Really?
There are people walking around San Antonio that already have, there's probably about 10 of you, that have a Brandon Paul jersey. But yeah, we've got a brand new dude.
I doubt there's many.
You don't recall the Brandon Paul era of the San Antonio Spurs?
I remember I think Brandon Paul played at Illinois.
I think he did, yeah.
And that's what I remember. I don't even remember his NBA career.
Cup of coffee.
How long did he play for?
If he was here a year, I'd be shocked.
Let's see.
He now plays for a team called Ulm. 17 and 18. There we go.
Ratio Farm, Ulm.
He's more appropriate to there. But for those that bought that jersey, it was an investment that has finally paid off. Chris Paul late last night became a San Antonio Spur for 1 year, $11 million.
Yeah. So let's get into that a little bit on the other side. There's plenty of and you know what? I don't want to I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse, but there's reason to believe that maybe Chris Paul's not even going to be here for a full year. But I do think that there is there's a lot to discuss on Chris Paul, so we'll do that. There's a lot to discuss in NBA free agency already, as maybe the biggest card got played. Man, I saw those odds yesterday. I got some odds sent to me on Paul George next team odds, and the Spurs were third favorite to land Paul George. It was Sixers 2-1, Magic 4-1, Spurs 8-1. So and the Warriors were 15-1, and it was like real, rumblings about the Warriors. And I was like, maybe. So you're saying there's a chance?
It felt like early on there was an opportunity, but the longer it went, I felt like if there's a bidding war, the Spurs will be out.
I think what the Spurs decided to do instead was play the long game here, and I think that's what's happening. And CP3 is sort of I don't want to say he's an assistant coach, but I think he's being kind of brought in to be an assistant coach.
Happened before. We've seen it happen.
But we'll talk about that coming up next. It is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
GiveMeTheVin.com is America's best car buyer, paying top dollar for your car, truck, sports car, exotic. What are you waiting for? We want to buy your car right now. Find out why thousands of satisfied customers across the United States put more money in their pocket by going to GiveMeTheVin.com. I told my buyers, let's get them bought. Right now is the time to go.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149. Joel, I'm proud to introduce my latest in-summer relaxation relief-cation. I call it the Quarter Moon Grill and Go. It's a stainless steel propane gas grill with this, a full-size urinal. If you're gonna grill and you gotta go, it's the Grill and Go.
Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat and AC, we fix plumbing and AC issues fast and at a fair price. 210-651-5899.
Grill and
Go away, Nigel. Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat and AC.
License number TACLA 88589E and 16004.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9313. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9313. That's 800-575-9313. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Over the past decade, the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the UFC fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch a game. The Roo Pub is next to the Angry Elephant and in the same plaza as the Big Blind. There at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool has been put away. Now's the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Huddling up on a Monday, a Chris Paul Monday. Happy Chris Paul Day!
I wonder how polarizing today's going to be, because I've seen a fair amount of people going, this cat is washed up. What's the point?
Joe Ronagel thinks that.
I've seen some celebration.
Who wants this guy?
I think that it's going to be worthy of a good day of discussion because, again, this is a guy that's, what is he, 36, 37?
It is
hadn't finished a full season in a couple of years.
1 year, $11 million deal. Listen, this is a guy who the Warriors are paying him $30 million. This is a guy who he's at a point where the money wasn't what it was about. It's more about what he wants to do with the rest of his career. He's 39 years old. My expectation was he wanted to play for a title contender. Here's what I believe happened. I believe that the Spurs talked to him. I don't know if it was Popovich or who, but they said, hey, come here, work with our guys. And if you decide you want at the deadline, we'll get you someplace where you want to be. And that's kind of the best of both worlds for Chris Paul, right? Chris Paul gets to be in a role where, because let's face it, even last year.
So you think they're going to just trade him?
I do.
Well, okay, so would there be, if they traded him, would that tell you that I think he's here for the duration. I don't understand why you think they're going to trade him.
Because I don't think Chris Paul would have come here otherwise.
Do you think that the teams that are in a title chase want him? I don't think we were plan A.
Oh, I think we were plan A.
You think we're plan A, go and prove it, and then we'll trade you at the deadline?
I think so. I think so. I think the Spurs were plan A of teams that were willing to offer him more than like a vet's min.
Let's be real. $11 million is a drop in the freaking bucket. This is dime store material.
But it's that mid-level, run. But I think that this is it's a win-win for these guys, and I think that because on the Warriors last year, Chris Paul was kind of an afterthought. Like he didn't get a lot of minutes.
He was hurt.
Yeah,
he spent all year hurt.
But I think, rather than, because if he's on a good team, he's going to be on the bench, like a lot on the bench. And in the playoffs, having a guy like him is more useful.
Why do you think he's, because I agree that he is past what he was. But keep in mind that he was playing with Steph Curry. I mean, if there's a guy to put you on a bench, it'd be Steph Curry. I think that there's more in the tank than we're giving him credit if he can stay healthy. I don't think this is I think this is an opportunity for him to prove it. I do think there's a lot of people doubting whether he can put together a full season, and we can talk about assistant coach on the court and all that. But I also think this is more about staying here. We got to keep in mind that I'm sure he believes that there's another big contract out there for him. He just got to prove it to everybody. I think in his heart of hearts, he's like, yeah, this is a 1-year deal. I will play through this. But if Chris Paul plays to the level that he wants to be to get another deal or get to a contender, I'm not sure we're going to want to get rid of him. Because I think the Spurs have their own alternative motive. Remember what he did with Oklahoma City a couple years ago? He took a bunch of ranked rookies. I mean, this was Shea's first year, and took those guys through a couple of playoff series with not nearly as. Now, he's not the same guy.
But 5 years ago. It wasn't just a couple years ago.
They brought him in for that kind of mentality. I'll say this. If Pop trades him at the deadline, something terrible has happened with the Spurs. That they looking at this like this season, there ain't no playoff, there ain't no nothing coming. Something bad has happened if they move it. I think that this is a guy they brought in to get them to the playoffs. We're going in now.
Really?
I do. I do think if at the deadline he gets moved, either the deal is one that they can't turn down, or they see the future and it ain't here. It's not now.
I mean, I don't think the future has Chris Paul involved in it. Like
no, I'm not next year. No, but this coming up season, the 24-25, I do think Chris Paul will be here for the duration, unless, of course, there's only 15 wins. You know what I mean? Or they're looking at this going, well, we're further away than we thought. Or they get a godfather with everything else to make that kind of deal that we might be waiting for this year. But I will qualify everything that we're saying. In the background, when the Spurs kicked that Devontae Graham deadline day from yesterday to next Sunday, that tells me he is plan B. That tells me he's either going to be part of a deal, then we're going to pay you the money and we're going to move you, or we're chasing something like Tobias or another point guard or another double-time guard, a lead guard, and if we can't get him for what we're after, you're coming back.
Yeah.
So I think there's more guard activity going on real soon. And if they do bring in somebody, then I'll agree with you. I'm qualifying all that. If they just stand here and go get another position or whatever the case might be. But I think Paul's here for a reason. Okay. Mario Elie got here for Avery. Avery came back for Tony. And I think that this is going to be the kind of mentoring kind of thing for Stephon Castle. Let's go get a champion and put him in your ear whether he's playing or not.
I think that's where the value in Chris Paul lies.
Absolutely.
Is that because I do believe that Chris Paul is pretty much washed as a player. I mean, he was I think it was a career low in minutes last year.
Again, he's behind Steph Curry.
I get it. But I think also just you could see the slip on the defensive side of the ball, which has always been like it because Chris Paul is not a big guy. So the reason why Chris Paul was a good defender is because Chris Paul was a motor. And I think that when you're 40 years old, motor don't work like it used to. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what Chris Paul is going to be from now on, is a slipping part. But I think having that guy at practice, having that guy, we've talked about this before, and we talked about this. We talked about this when we were talking about free agent ads, and I like this addition. Don't make no mistake that I'm like trying to poo-poo this, but I don't think you add Chris Paul because you think he can get you to the playoffs.
No,
I think you add Chris Paul because you want an adult in the room and you want someone to teach these guys how to be professionals. And I think that's what Chris Paul can do better than anybody.
And it's that very reason why I think he's here to push them toward playoff worthiness. That I can't imagine anything other than a year, maybe two. He gets another one after this, but that's it. And he very likely could be listed as a starter when the season begins, but don't get lost in starters and minutes. You know, he's not going to play more than 20 minutes a game. Best case scenario. You know, that'd be crazy to think of anything other than that. But everything from the locker room to the game, on the plane, everything that involves being a world-class athlete doing world-class things. That's why he's here, because there hadn't been anybody in the room to do that. And now we've got a guy that's been there long enough, doesn't have a ring, but he's been there enough to know what it takes.
Saturday, when we were at the press conference, it was brought up that this is the youngest team in the league. And obviously they've got a guy in Pop who's, as tenured as anybody. So it's not like you're lacking for leadership, but I think in the locker room, maybe that is one of the things that they realized they needed. And like you said, historically, the Spurs have done this. This isn't the first time they've done it. It makes sense to me. Like, you've got a 19-year-old hopeful point guard, a guy who wants to play point guard. Who's better to teach him than Chris Paul? You've got a guy who, should be one of the best players in the league. And remember, we were playing audio a couple weeks ago about how this should be all you got to do is come in there and lob it to him. And they need a point guard to go in there and just throw the ball up to him. Chris Paul's going to show him, hey man, this is how we do it. This is the move. And I love the idea of this. Again, and it also gives you some flexibility for if they get into the Stephon Castle experiment and decide, yeah, you're not a point guard,
right?
You're not our point guard. It gives you gives you a year to say, we're going to figure out who that's going to be. Right now, it's going to be Chris. It's not like they're going to not play Castle. It's just a matter of where he'll play.
In minutes, who starts, who closes, who's the transition guy. I look at Chris Paul being the rabbit. If I'm Pop, I bring him in to set the pace. Whatever the pace I want to happen tonight, I want Castle, I want the other guards to watch what Chris Paul does in the first 6 minutes of the game. This is how we're going to play tonight, and this is how we're going to attack this team. Watch what Paul does, and then you sit him down and let the rookie go in and try and do it, whether you win or lose. Things get out of hand, you bring in the vet again. That's how you utilize a guy like that. He'll get starters name, but he won't get starters minutes. I mean, that's just kind of how that's even if he does start. I'm not even expecting him. I think it's 50-50 that he's a starter as we look at it today. Ideally, he's never a starter, but I think we'll see what happens in the next week as far as movement. He's not going
to finish top 5 in minutes per game.
If he does, again, something horrible's happened on the other side of this.
Or maybe I'm wrong and he's brilliant. And
I think you're right. As far as there's not a lot left in this gas tank, but there's so much left from the neck up that he can bring enough savvy and stay and just keep healthy enough to get us there, baby. And if you can get us there, we'll take care of the rest, and you'll make a little bit more money and head off into the sunset. It is a coup because he could have easily gone and landed for this $11 million on a lot of teams. Boston would have loved to have had him. Are you kidding me? So as they look at what's going on in Philly, so there's a lot of teams that suddenly would have really appreciated Chris Paul's talents, and he came here because even though he might be coming looking at a longer journey, he's still looking for a ring. I mean, the cat still wants one. It is an unfinished journey for him.
Well, and that's why I just assume that, he probably told the Spurs, hey, man, I want to come help you guys too, but
his ego tells him he's got 5 years. You don't get this far down the road without going,
40.
I'm just saying his ego tells him he's got 5 years. You get to that point where you go, but for this this little twinge of the ankle, but for this little thing, I'd have been so much better last year, but you just don't realize it. The but fors are because you're old. It's just you're wearing out. But you'd think as the athlete, if I wouldn't have turned my ankle back in week 3, I'd have had a hell of a year. And if you don't think like that as an athlete, it is time to go.
Well, I remember when he signed with the Rockets, and I said, I don't know. I said, Chris Paul's probably got a little bit of time left, but I said, to me, the value of bringing Chris Paul, and this is, sort of irony, is the value of bringing Chris Paul in is he's going to set an example for James Harden of what to be.
Little did we know.
The irony of that is that's literally why Chris Paul got run right out of Houston.
I'm not a system player. I am a system.
Hey, James, don't you think you'd be better if, we practiced, and James is like,
"Get the hell out of town,
bro! I don't know who you think
I'm not
you're
a system
talking
player.
to.
I am a system.
He's the system, bro.
I'm the system,
What are you
bro.
talking about? Practice."
And Chris is like, all right, you ready to work on defense? And James like, man, I'm ready to go to the butt naked club. I'm not messing with no defense today. I got chicks waiting. Like,
Can we be? I am not a fan of Chris Paul personally. I don't personally like the guy.
I don't either.
He is a dog in every sense of the word. You know, I think I remember his rookie years with Charlotte or New Orleans back in the day. The Clipper years, and what year did he knock us out? 12, 13 with a shot. The Clippers. I've never been a fan of the guy personally, but I do appreciate professionally what he does bring to a team. And I think the best example of what he's done, go back, it's been 5 years, but the Oklahoma City team was a bunch of ranked children, and cast-offs. And he carried that team. He can't do it physically anymore, but he can show you, and he demands respect from rookies. He does command the room. They will all know that Chris Paul is a Spur.
Well, there's no James Harden on this team to undermine it.
Right.
And that's the mistake the Rockets made was James Harden had just unlimited power in that organization, which is, you get what you get, you get what you ask for. But I think he's so perfect for this spot because there is nobody in that room to tell him, sit down and shut up. We're doing it my way, because that's none of these. I mean, Wemby's obviously the best player on the team, but even he understands, at least right now, who knows in 5 years, 3-4 years, but right now in year 2, Greg Popovich is your coach. And he says, hey, listen to this guy, watch this guy, do what this guy says. They're all going to listen.
So they went and got a mentor for our new guard.
Yeah.
That's basically, should they be searching for a mentor for our big post? Should that be the next acquisition? Should there be somebody out there that they spend some money on to do the same?
No.
For the guards?
No, that's the reason why I say no is because remember who was in the draft room with his man bun and his flip-flops?
Oh, that guy. That's right.
I think if the Spurs, the Rockets do this with Hakeem. When the Rockets have a young big, they bring Hakeem in, and they just say, hey, just work with this guy a little bit.
And that's what they did last year. They do have a little bit of money left, a little bit more, now that they only spent 11 on that mid-level. So I'm just curious where Spurs fans want to see them spend that other money. On a big, you need another guard. Tobias Harris, is he the answer?
No, God, no. No, Tobias Harris is not the answer to any question other than who do you not spend money on?
Exit to go win a champion.
The Sixers have been like, oh my God, please, can this contract ever end? And it finally did. And now somebody's like, there's going to be somebody who's running like, oh, we've got dollars. No, that's little kid spending. That's thinking like, I've got these $5. I've got to spend something that's $4.99 or less.
They didn't kick the Devontae Graham can down the street.
Not yet.
To see without something in the works.
No, I think you're right. It's not Paul George. We'll talk about that on the other side, where Paul George lands. It's the Morning Huddle 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up Monday on the Blitz, Joe Reinego returns with his sunburn from his vacation in Mexico. We'll be all over NBA free agency and what the Spurs might be doing. Stephon Castle had his introductory press conference on Saturday. We'll have the details there, and any more beef between Micah and Malik Hooker. The Blitz, Monday at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Mr. W Fireworks has been your family-owned and operated fireworks provider since 1963.
We are proud to guarantee the lowest prices on fireworks around. And the biggest selection, too.
That's right. Here at Mr. W Fireworks, we have the lowest prices on fireworks in the area and with the biggest selection to choose from. At Mr. W Fireworks, we have been doing this a long time.
We never charge any hidden fees, and we pass our savings down to the customer. Find our location near you at MrWFireworks.com.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, my son's teacher emailed his back-to-school list. He needs crayons and a comp book for every subject.
Okay, no problem. With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for back to school.
Oh, now they're saying he needs folders and glue.
You got it.
And markers?
Of course.
Oh, geez.
Can we get a cart? please?
Save big on back to school with Staples Hot Deals. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 50 cents each at Staples. Ends 8/24, in-store only, limit 30.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Can't escape the office this summer? Make your workdays tastier with delicious savings from EasyCater, the #1 site for workplace catering. With over 100,000 restaurants to choose from, save up to $40 when you order from participating restaurants. These scrumptious discounts are available exclusively on EasyCater.com. So order some food for work and save some green with delicious summer savings. Order now at EasyCater.com. Order must be placed and received between June 24th and July 5th. Restrictions apply. See offer details.
Most of us go to the doctor when we're sick or need prescriptions refilled. But at the Institute for Functional Health, we offer a different and complete version of primary care. This means you will get the medications you need, but we will also put together a custom game plan to fix the root cause and allow your body to heal itself. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health, and we help people get off of medications. Call me for a free consultation, 468-1891, or online at iffhealth.com. You will experience a doctor's visit unlike any you've ever had. 468-1891.
Hi, this is Joe Reinagle. You're listening to the home of the Texas Rangers, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Morning Huddle, 94.1. What happened to decorum at Wimbledon?
I think you could have gotten us thrown out, man. I think if you'd have said that, I don't think we'd have been able to sit in the stands and watch the good folks at Wimbledon.
I would have said, hey,
comment like
what's
that.
going on with that?
You can't bring that up. Not in good company.
No, they throw me right out of that place.
We'll play that. They'll force you to go watch a soccer game. You fit in better with those hooligans than the fun.
They throw me right out of that
Wimbledon
place.
crowd drinking the cream and strawberries or whatever the hell they do.
Mr. Paul George.
Huge. This is a fundamental tectonic shift in the NBA. Big news.
I think this is the biggest free agent move that could have happened this offseason. Paul George leaving the Clippers and headed to Philly. And we listen, I've got a segment marked on my sheet here that says Clippers meltdown. So we're going to get to that at some point, but let's first look at it from the view of the Philadelphia 76ers, who I just talked about. They've been stuck with this terrible Tobias Harris contract for years.
His dad's an agent. There's you're talking about collusion going on in the league.
My God.
This one was when they signed that kind of money. That felt like, maybe you'll bring some of your other dudes with you.
What an awful deal. They're out of that, and they say, okay, now we can actually spend big money on a good player.
Mm-hmm.
So they go and get Paul George, and again, this is. We'll get into what the Clippers are doing later, but this isn't like you had to give up assets. This is a free agent signing, which is huge.
How the Clippers let it get here. Oh, my gosh. You don't see this. You don't see guys just leave like this. Just, I'm out the door and nothing coming back.
Is there a because we talk about the age of the big three, and it seems like the big three is kind of coming to an end.
That second apron part of the new players agreement, where the tax level on that third big contract is so astronomical.
Nobody wants to do it.
Can't do it. And
but Philly's going to do it.
They're all in for short term. And let's give some credit to the bean counters with the Spurs, as they saw this coming a couple years ago once this agreement got into place, on how valuable these picks are. These first round draft picks are now the value of a number one quarterback draft in the NFL. You just have to have them, and if you don't have your quarterback under a rookie deal, you can't function. You can't win.
It's so funny
and
because
the league has become that now. If you don't have your star either paid and locked up and a rookie on his rookie, you can't win it. That's your third star now, has to be your rookie.
It's funny because I remember it was a time when it was NBA draft picks are dumb. Who needs them? The only ones that matter are the first five anyway. And so if you're not a dreadful team, you don't need draft picks. They're just they're throwaways. I mean, the Spurs treat them like throwaways for a long time when they were good. They draft a Euro, send him to Europe, and never hear from him again. But in that big three age, is there a better big three in the league than Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese
Boston
Maxey?
woke up this morning going, how on earth did we fall behind? But they fell behind last night. They're in totality, they're still deeper. They're still deeper than Philly in totality. But starting five, mano a mano, Philly's got the lead. They're not probably in my mind the odds-on favorite until this whole free agency thing gets going, and until I see what these teams look like on November 1. But they are even money right now.
I mean, the idea that those they're able to have all three, and you just said, how do you have this without one of them being a rookie, and now one of them's not a rookie? Like they're all three are on their going to be on their second deal, or more than that. I mean, these Sixers are willing to go deep into pocket to make this happen. Like you said, it's short term. Who knows how long they can keep it up?
You can't sustain it monetarily.
It's like the San Diego Padres. It's like, we're going to spend all the free agent money, and then after about 3 years and it didn't work, they're like, we're going to pull back a little on spending.
But it worked for teams that were like, we're all in, baby. In 2 years, this whole place is going to burn down. But right now, and it worked for the Rams. It doesn't always. In fact, it rarely does.
Your definition of what is all in and mine might not be.
You have to define what all in is. And I think we can say that Philly is all in.
This is a scary team, man. This is to me, I like this team better than Boston. Now, the big concern is obviously their best player has seemingly never-ending health concerns. That's the problem. And you know what? Now they just signed the second best player who also has never-ending health concerns. Like with Tatum and Brown and Holiday, you assume those guys are going to be on the floor.
Yeah. I mean, that's the price you're paying when you sign vets, that you're going to have to hope all things work out. And that's why it so rarely does, because you're normally buying a guy at this price that's pretty long in the tooth. That you're going to have to maintain at the very best, because we don't expect improvement. We just hope you stay where you are.
But if I said, if the over-under is 41, are these three guys going to start over or under half the games this season together, three at once?
The good news is a burden shared is a burden halved, and I think the Clippers were trying to work under that premise where, like, even if you are taking some nights off, we got enough firepower to live without you. The good news is Philadelphia's kind of accustomed to that. Paul George is going to be the second most valuable player on that team, maybe even the third if Embiid stays healthy. But Tyrese Maxey, this is Maxey's team now.
You think so?
Embiid, like you just said, has been unable to stay on the court. Maxey is the guy. Things changed when he arrived. They've exited Harris to give him more. I'm telling you, this is Maxey's team. With Paul George now arriving, we'll see how that works with him. But Tyrese is the guy.
The problem with that is, if Tyrese is your best player, you're not winning. If Embiid isn't healthy, this team is not a title team.
You're right. But I think as far as in the locker room, Embiid has not, he's still like the voice to the public. But I tell you what, I think that the guy that's running this team The guy that keeps the motor moving is Maxey.
I don't disagree, but if Embiid had played like 5 more games this season, he would have been the MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's on the floor, he's the best player in the league right now.
I'm not taking away from anything. I'm talking about in the locker room. This is Maxey's team now. There's no question. Embiid's been hurt too much and was unable. Maxey delivered in the playoffs when he was supposed to. Tobias is gone. George is coming in and he brings a fair amount of weight, but when all things are done, when Paul George is done, when Embiid is finally traded, Tyrese Maxey will still be a Sixer.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, he is the long-term future of this team, no doubt. But it's a scary squad.
I'm telling you, grab them now. I don't know what the odds are going to look like when they open today, but I like Philadelphia, as they said, because as long as no more stars run from the West, which I wouldn't be surprised to see some more dudes leave to head to the East where there's an easier get to the finals. So I don't have to worry about Denver and Minnesota and the Wimby's 4 times, 6 times a year and all this other kind of stuff. So as long as nobody else runs west or runs to the East, Philly probably wakes up in the next 2 days, second, just a hair behind Boston. And I like that money. I'll put some money down on that.
Yeah, I like what they're doing. I think this is about as great of a signing as you could have made. Let's see. It's too late to grab them.
Already up there, huh?
They're your second favorite to win the NBA title.
I fit right behind Boston.
Right behind Boston. Well, not right behind. Boston 3-1. Sixers 8-1.
Oh, okay. Well, we still got some signings to happen. That number's fluid, but 8-1 sounds good to me.
OKC and Denver both plus 850. And if you hate money, you can bet the Knicks at plus 950. So that's the Celtics plus 150 to win the East. Sixers now plus 400.
Klay Thompson could run to Orlando. I mean, there's all this stuff about going to LA, but LeBron's going to have to take a pay cut to do this. I think Orlando's ready to get them somebody to head west as well.
I wonder what Orlando's going to do with their free agents or their impending free agents, like guys because remember Suggs and Franz Wagner, they come from the same draft class.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that Orlando can justify paying both of them.
They're not. They're going to pay Suggs. Wagner's going to get moved.
Do you think so?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it might be the opposite because they just spent another high draft pick on somebody that plays Jalen Suggs' spot.
I think it's the other dude, the North Carolina kid that's on the way out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. A lot of free agent movement in the NBA. We'll get to some of that as the show goes on. Have you seen the latest story on JaMarcus Russell?
Well, I can discount the Clay thing, by the way. KCP is now Magic.
KCP to the Magic.
Clay ain't going to Orlando then.
No, he's not going to Orlando. And this is a better deal or a better player.
Yeah.
Bad news for the Nuggets though. That's a big piece to
like
to
the
lose.
law firm. We like the law firm.
Yeah, he's not a guy that you look at as a star, but man, he's a hell of a piece as a third, fourth guy. All right, I want to talk about this JaMarcus Russell story. That's fascinating. JaMarcus Russell apparently life ain't great for JaMarcus these days. We'll talk about that next. It's the Morning Huddle right here on 94.1.
This is Jim Rome, and you're listening to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
July 4th doorbusters are here at Lowe's, so don't miss your chance for big summer savings. Right now, save $30 on a Project Source 18-inch sink bathroom vanity. Was $129, now just $99. And save $10 on a Never Kink 50-foot hose. Was $29.98, now just $19.98. Hurry, these deals won't last long because Lowe's knows savings. Offers valid through 7/1. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
As you know, summer is right around the corner, and for most people, that means more activities, more golf, more biking, more of whatever you love to do. But if you're dealing with aches and pains, your more could become less. This is why I'm here to tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. You see, instead of masking your pain, Relief Factor's formula is designed to help reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free, and it's been a game changer for so many people. So let's get after it this summer. Let's feel good. Let's do more of the things that we love to do. Don't let pain keep you down. Give Relief Factor a try and save on your first order. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Help fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
I love this Too Short knockoff. You know what? I noticed the Blitz. They use some real music.
Yeah, there's an art form to it.
We got to figure
keeps
that out.
us on the keeps us off the bot vision. Lets us continue to broadcast via the interwebs.
JaMarcus Russell,
one of our favorites as an Aggie. We always appreciated a good JaMarcus Russell story.
Yeah, former number 1 NFL draft pick JaMarcus Russell, who over the course of his NFL career made a little under $36.5 million. That's a good living for a guy who's widely regarded as the biggest bust as a number 1 draft pick in the history of football.
Have you ever heard the JaMarcus Russell $100 bill legend?
No.
So he was with the Raiders, and they had just drafted him, and he had been sent home with a bunch of film to watch. This is back when you were still getting DVDs to watch. And his offensive coordinator was pretty sure this cat was not watching any video at all. So he hid $100 bills behind in the DVD cases to see if when he came back, like if Russell said anything about finding these $100 bills, and had them returned, and the 100 were still inside. He never opened, never watched any video at all.
Jeez.
Got his check, and that was it.
Yeah, not what you would call committed. Well, he loves the game. So he was he's a volunteer assistant coach at Williamson High School, his alma mater in Mobile, Alabama. Or he was. He's now been fired as a volunteer assistant coach and is facing a lawsuit. JaMarcus was relieved of volunteer coaching duties.
How do you get fired? You don't even work here. I'm going to have to fire you.
I would say you don't get paid to be here, but he kind of did. A local business owner named Chris Knowles wrote a $74,000 check saying Russell approached him about a donation to help the Williamson football team purchase weight room equipment. The school allegedly never received the check, Russell reportedly deposited into a credit union and withdrew $55,000 from it. Now, it doesn't say this in the story, but I've got questions.
So far, I do, yeah.
If you're a local business owner and you say, okay, I'm going to donate to the school, you writing a check with JaMarcus Russell's name on it?
Yeah, I think this was a tax dodge that got caught, and everybody's turning on each other. This appears to be something other than a donation for a weight room.
Well, he's now not allowed to be on campus. He attended an event for the football team this week, but was told that he's not welcome there. He tried to show up, and they said, nope, beat it, Bubba.
There's more to this story, man.
Yeah, I would think so. So, but like I said, lawsuit pending. And again, if you're stealing from funds intended for a high school weight room, life's gone awry for you.
Especially where you keep going back to work. You went back to work after it's already come out. We got more issues than you. There's something else going on. JaMarcus has a terrible reputation, and rightfully so for a lot of stuff. But how many of us realistically, somebody walked up and wrote you at 18 a $30 million check and then said, you know what, here's all your money. Now you're going to have to keep working as hard as you ever did. It just wasn't in it. He got the check and you know what? Success. I did it. I have made it and I got over. They have to pay me this money. Now I don't have to ever work again. And he never really did.
You say, well, he didn't even finish the work that he got.
That's what I'm saying. He got his guaranteed money and called it a career, which to some of us, if he'd have just gone to some island and we never heard from him again, we'd clap our hands, say, well done, young man. You did it.
The problem is a bunch of other people in that age.
Yeah.
And
they all took his money.
They all did the same stuff, and they all were able to get more than he got, certainly. All right. Again, much more NBA to discuss. Chris Paul, Paul George, Clippers, Warriors, all kinds of teams melting. Morning Huddle, 94.1.
This is the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. KTFM, Floresville.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9047. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9047. That's 800-575-9047. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Save money by shopping local for your fireworks at Mr. W Fireworks. At Mr. W Fireworks, we have been doing this for a long time, since 1963.
We never charge any hidden fees, and we pass our savings down to the customer.
Don't overpay for your fireworks ever again. We are proud to guarantee the lowest prices on fireworks around, and the biggest selection too.
We have locations across the area.
Visit MrWFireworks.com to find us. Shop logo and save 50 to 80% more at Mr. W Fireworks.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams July holiday sale and get 30% off paints and stains from June 28th through July 8th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select a new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Everywhere you turn nowadays, you'll see a billboard or hear a commercial for a personal injury attorney. Do you know what you once hear here? The big results, like the multi-million-dollar results achieved by Thomas J. Henry. The reason is simple. Thomas J. Henry has a team of 300 personal injury attorneys ready to work for you. Seasoned, experienced attorneys that know how to win big cases for their clients. So, if you or your family has been injured in a car or commercial trucking accident, call the law firm that gets results for their clients. Thomas J. Henry. Available 24/7, nights and weekends. San Antonio, Texas.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. San Antonio Sports Center.
The San Antonio Spurs started free agency off with a bang. They signed 12-time All-Star Chris Paul to a one-year, $11 million deal. The 39-year-old averaged 9.2 points a game, 6.8 assists, and almost 2 steals a game with Golden State Warriors last year. The Spurs might not be done. They do have interest in the Philadelphia 76ers free agent Tobias Harris, who is also drawing interest from Detroit, Utah, and Dallas. I'm Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Day one of Wimbledon underway. Jerry taking on Shapovalov.
How many?
Shapovalov is about to beat Jerry. It's match point here.
So not like
Hold
you're...
on, don't talk until match point.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, can you name them again?
Shapovalov.
Which one is Shapovalov?
The
one in white?
Yeah. He's the guy who fell down is Shapovalov.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're sure?
I'm 100% sure.
Okay.
Because
Can you
otherwise
tell-
the match would be over. That was match point.
Because it looks like Jerry Cheese from Texas, but that's actually Chile. But he's got
And Shapovalov, believe it or not, is Canadian.
Sure he is.
That's a hoser name if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I think he speaks with a bit of an accent.
We were just talking about Daniil Medvedev, and I don't pay attention to these sorts of things, but I guess it's been a couple of years now that tennis won't allow Russians to play under the Russian flag.
I don't think any international sports are allowing the Russians to do anything. They won't be at the Olympics. I think there'll be some guys, some athletes wearing under a white flag or under a UN flag or something. They participate. They participate under the Olympic flag. They're like citizens of the world.
Okay.
So that's Medvedev. He's a citizen of the world, or Monaco, which seems to be where most wealthy citizens of the world end up.
Yep. It's like, well, if you want to play, this is how you get to play.
Or Dubai, I guess, is the other place, the Emirates.
There you go. Shapovalov.
Of course.
Gets the job done.
Yeah. See, I used to enjoy tennis.
That guy doesn't look Russian at all.
Well, what does a Russian look like? Not that, I guess.
Beat it,
Jerry. Were you ever a tennis?
I watched tennis a little bit when I was young.
Why? Was it a dude? Did you have a favorite? Like, were you like Sampras or whatever?
Oddly, I liked Stefan Edberg.
Okay, I remember Edberg. See, there was an era where we knew these guys. I don't know any of these guys.
I played some tennis, so I would watch it. I'd watch the big tournaments, but I'm not sure why I stopped watching, but you're right. But listen, right now, the best player who's probably ever played is playing right now in Novak Djokovic.
Mhm.
Everybody knows him.
And maybe
we went
that's
through
why
the Federer and Nadal phase where those two guys were, on top of the world. But the problem is they're not Americans.
Well,
and
we managed to get through, though. I remember prior we had international people.
Yeah, but we did, but there was always an American that
was the number one
that was there.
Yeah,
so
Sampras
it was like
dominated forever.
Sampras and Agassi. Before that, it was McEnroe and Connors. Like we had that run, and there hasn't been Andy Roddick was like a hopeful, but he never was able to.
Like
to
Larry
be
Holmes.
Yeah,
he was good, but
but it's to me, it's much like boxing in that
we had the heyday
when you've got a heavyweight American boxer that is relevant. people in this country love boxing, but it's been so long since we had a relevant American heavyweight that it just doesn't. We don't care.
And American tennis back in the 80s and 90s, we had 5 guys.
Yeah,
lots of worthy and magnetic types that worthy of watching, not just tennis
Americans don't like
don't have that anymore.
when we're not the best at things.
Yeah, but they're also, you cannot be the best if you have some sort of magnetism, like Barkley. If you have a little bit more than the game, man, we will follow you to the end. But we just haven't even had that forever. And I look at Wimbledon, I recognize 2 names on that list, and it hasn't been like I've exited the game. I still pay a little bit of attention, but there's been no one to kind of carry through.
There was. It was the Williams sisters.
And you know what? You can
Serena,
argue that it was the best thing that ever happened to women's tennis, and also the worst thing that ever happened to women's tennis in the United States, because there's been a couple that have attempted to kind of come outside of the shadow of the Williams sisters, but none of them have been able to maintain.
I think it's Coco Gauff.
Yeah, but she gets the yips. You know, I mean, there's that kind of stuff where it's hard to be a fan of a player that might not be able to emotionally play next month. You know, you're like, well, I don't get that. So I think while they carried the game for 20 years, there's this vacuum that now that there's no Williams sisters to get us there, and we have no men's star to even pay attention to.
But Coco Gauff's the number 2 player in the world.
Okay.
I mean,
I get it, but there has been months where she would just not play.
Yeah. And I'm sure if she wins, it'll be here anyway in the United States. It'll be a big deal.
I hope
so. I don't think there's a man who's even got a prayer of winning this thing from America.
No.
So
he's probably in about 8th grade.
I just cheer for. I've been cheering for Djokovic. I want that dude to. I want him to break every record. I'm fascinated by greatness unless I have a reason not to be. And even then, I'm still fascinated by it, but begrudgingly. Like that's with Tom Brady. Like I hate Tom Brady, but it's like I
find most of these goats would never hang around with. I wouldn't, most of them I wouldn't like personally.
But it is kind of cool to be able to say, you know what? I bet it's this way for you too with Clay. Like, because I know it is with my kid. The idea that you have to argue LeBron or Michael is like an absurdity to me because I've seen it.
Right.
And so, but it's always, then I also know that people have tried to tell me that Jim Brown is the best running back who's ever played. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, you ever seen Barry Sanders? But it's like, oh, I saw him. I saw Jim Brown play. And it's like, in my mind, I'm like, Jim Brown couldn't play in the NFL today if he tried, but everybody's got this thing that like, what if you saw this is what you can,
right. I know what the best looks like.
Right.
I've witnessed it. Yeah.
I love the idea of getting like, I got to see Tiger. I didn't get to see prime Jack Nicklaus. So it's hard for me to like make the argument, but to me, it's like,
I can't imagine Nicklaus was better, even though I don't have any visual proof. I think we've been very lucky, our generation, in that we've been privy to the best in just about we've seen the GOATs.
We've seen Gretzky, we've seen Jordan, and if you didn't see Jordan, you saw LeBron, who's probably the second best. Say what you will about what we saw, but we all saw Barry Bonds, and it is. I think we're lucky when we get to see stuff like that. I think Novak Djokovic is one of those guys, and he's probably the least talked about of them because he's, it's not a
because we didn't have an American.
Yeah,
that's why.
But and also I think the reason why is he had 2 contemporaries that for a long time were neck and neck with him.
The Spaniards.
And so, it was Nadal and Federer, and they were all 3. Their major titles were all back and forth, and it was like one of them was always but when those 2 fell off and Djokovic kept going, it's like it's clear that this dude is like if he's not the best ever, he's certainly the most accomplished at this point. I mean, it's impressive. I like seeing that stuff. So
no personality though, I'll tell you.
None at all.
Nothing to grab you. It's like Sampras for a while and Lindell before that, the cyborgs of tennis that you needed You needed the Agassiz, you needed the Connors, you needed the really good McEnroes that were, coming and going, but there was so much to them that you would watch them even if they weren't at their best.
You know what I respect about him, though? And I know this is maybe a little controversial, and I'm not trying to take one side or the other on this subject, but the idea that they told him you can't play
in the whites
unless you got the vaccination.
Oh, you talk about Joker, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, well, I'm just not going to play then.
Then he ever tried to force his way into Australia?
Yeah,
landed unvaxxed, like, throw me out, I dare you.
You're like, oh, okay.
All right, we'll throw you out.
And they threw him out. And but you know what? This is a dude who was like, listen, man, the reason why I've gotten where I've gotten in this sport is I pay so close of attention to everything that goes into my body that I refuse to put anything in my body that you can't answer these questions about. And I kind of respect that he was like, this is where I'm going to draw the line. And that literally, if that had held, and no one knew at the time how long it would hold, but if that rule had held up, like if that were still happening today, Novak Djokovic's career would be over. He would have lost out on millions of dollars and probably lost out on a claim to saying, I am the best who's ever played this game.
And it could have killed him.
It could have.
He was having these COVID tennis camps and, somewhere on the Moldovan coast or wherever the hell he was, where everybody who went got sick.
But I kind of appreciate him saying, you know what? I don't know what's in it. I'm not going to take it. And like literally risked his entire career to do it. I don't know. So there's something about him that it makes me want to see him do well. There's Daniil Medvedev with no flag taking on an American. Although Kovacevic, maybe he's got more Eastern Euro name than Medvedev, I think.
Well,
he's got a K, a V, and a C.
Well, see, you have to enjoy the early rounds of the Wimbledon matches because the grass is still green.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they've been playing in the backyard for a week.
It doesn't look like a front lawn in San Antonio.
Yeah, after the water limitations have been hit.
Yeah, we can't.
My question: you played a little bit.
We can't water.
Have you ever played on grass?
No. Played in Texas.
You ever played on clay?
No.
Well, who has played on grass and clay? How many tennis players? Only wealthy Euro. Yeah. I mean, who can just go play? Like, I'd like to learn how to play tennis on grass. Could I do that in San Antonio? Is there a grass court anywhere in this city? I assume there has to be, right?
I bet there's not.
Okay, so
I bet if you were, you know what, between San Antonio and Austin, I bet there's one somewhere.
That Newcomb Ranch probably has to have one, right? In between here and. But my point is, how can we expect Americans to get good at this when they're playing on surfaces that even if I wanted to, I couldn't get good at?
Well, Pete Sampras found a way.
Well, he did 30 years ago.
Found a way.
30 years ago.
Well, we need to figure out a new way.
That's we're wondering why we're playing on this.
It is absurd.
Grass and clay are stupid. Why would we do this?
But it seems like it would be easier. Like the whole game is slowed down.
Maybe that's the case. Whatever. It seems like you. There's a reason why vinyl went away. Because digital was just better.
Yeah.
Now we can hearken to the past and enjoy it, but the fact remains we progressed.
We have any grass pickleball courts?
I doubt we played pickleball on grass, but I would think that most of these cult members that are pickleball players, because I think at some point you're exchanging blood or something for pickleball players. There's something going on with you guys. I don't know what's going on.
I've only played
with
one
you
time
pickleball
ever.
Types. You play a couple games and suddenly you're a pickleball person.
Yeah.
I'm witnessing it firsthand.
You got kids?
I've got a son that has become a pickleball person.
Let me guess, the older one.
It's Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
They play incessant pickleball and they talk about it and they go do it. But I bet it's not on grass.
No.
Because
it's got a wiffle ball. It would just die.
That's it. It couldn't. That's right. You could not play on grass, right?
Yeah.
Never actually doing it because I don't want to be converted.
Tony says Oak Hills Country Club had one.
See, country club types.
Fancies.
Yeah, you got to be a club type. Well, I guess that's tennis in general, but I can't go to a city park and let's go play on clay.
Edwin, they still have grass at Oak Hills Country Club?
I don't know.
What? Oh, you're not a member?
You don't go to
you
the
let your
tennis
membership
courts?
expire?
No.
You stay on the golf course exclusively.
I think he's just a social member.
Yeah. He's doing the dinner party.
Yeah, he's just uses it for the club and the business context.
That makes sense.
A member by name.
By name.
Yeah.
You know him? You know me? Edwin, I'm kind of a big deal.
You know me. All right. On the other side, let's talk about LeBron James and what the next step is.
Which one are we
for
talking
LeBron.
about? Which LeBron?
Well, there's only one LeBron.
Well, there's Bronny. What do you think is
That's
first?
different.
Well, when we say LeBron James now, we're going to have to clarify.
But that's how we differentiate.
The first or the second, A or B?
It's I think
Senior or junior?
we
Bubba?
stick with LeBron and Bronny because that's the easiest way. But
Deuce?
I think Bronny's efficient. I
Okay.
think everybody knows. But we'll talk about LeBron and maybe taking a pay cut. Maybe he'll come play in San Antonio for that mid-level exception.
Pay cut.
We'll talk about that next. Morning Huddle 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM, San Antonio Sports Star.
Maybe it's time to ask your checking account. What have you done for me lately? My Advantage Checking from Generations Federal Credit Union does more. My Advantage Checking pays you 2 days early, plus shopping rewards, identity protection, and much more. My Advantage Checking treats you right. So make the switch. Learn more at Generations Federal Credit Union. Member owned. Community grown. Member eligibility requirements apply. For complete terms and conditions, visit mygenfcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine is excited to announce a partnership that is revolutionizing access to care for orthopedic patients. The HURT app provides free 24/7 access to orthopedic expertise. HURT is the app to have before you need it. Don't wait for an injury to happen. Download HURT now for free, fast virtual access to orthopedic specialists. The HURT app is available online in the App Store and Google Play. Learn more about the HURT app and the OrthoNow Injury Clinic at TSAOG.com.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
It's time for July 4th doorbusters at Lowe's. Now through July 1st, save $900 on a Lowe's exclusive Hisense French door refrigerator. Was $18.99, now just $9.99. And get 3 for $10 on 10-pound bags of Royal Oak charcoal for all your summer barbecues. Shop these deals before they're gone, because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 7/1. Appliance price includes all discounts while supplies last.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
but that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
With a true Vegas feel, the Big Blind is the premier poker room in San Antonio, featuring an upscale environment catering to players from all abilities. From high-octane tournaments or lively cash games, the Big Blind has a game for everyone, including blackjack tournaments. From the owners of the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, the Big Blind is locally owned and operated, offering daily cash games to daily, weekly, and monthly tournaments. Learn more online at thebigblindsa.com. The Big Blind at 281 and Redland Road.
You're listening to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio's sports star. LeBron James is back in the news, and you're saying, well, what's LeBron doing in the news? We know he's going to play with his son. Well, yes. But we might see LeBron take one for the team here.
Do you think so?
I think he will. You know what? Here's what I think. I think if he's got some sort of guarantees that the Lakers will do what he asks him to do with that money.
Well, so far so good.
They've got a pretty good hit rate right now of doing exactly what he tells them to do. If they say, hey, we're going to do this with this money, and LeBron says, okay, then I'll give some of mine back.
I'll tell you, I always appreciate as fans when a player does that. But the moment you do that, the toothpaste is out of the tube.
Yeah.
You have admitted to yourself, to the team, to the fans, that you are no longer what you were, and you expect to get worse. You expect to be paid, at the very least, any human being expects to be paid commensurate to their worth, and basketball players certainly understand that. When you admit to the fact that you will take less money, whether it's to help your son out or help your team get better, at LeBron's age, you are admitting that it's over. That for anything you get from me from now on will be a declining return on investment.
Counterpoint. Dwayne Wade did just that to get LeBron to Miami.
And
that was like prime Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, that's prime Dwayne Wade. That was to get a ring. Now, this ain't about ring. This is about, who am I? I am the king. I'm still the king in my mind. I am the GOAT. And if you were going to keep me around here, the GOAT doesn't give anything back. You go find it.
I don't know. I think he's at an age now, and you're right.
I think he'll admit. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do, but once you do that, you are now admitting to the world that you are no longer the king of the hill. The moment you take less than your worth to go get a champion, unless you're 30, 32, 33, then it's about being a good teammate. This guy now at 38, you're telling the world, yeah, you're right. I'm winded now.
Yeah, I generally agree. And he's 39, by the way.
That's what I'm 39 now. And we all know it is, but it's the admittance. It's the like, you know what? I can no longer, nor do I even ask to command the money that I used to, because I'm not that guy anymore.
You're right. And I don't know that LeBron like tries to pretend like he's
Maybe
that guy anymore.
I think you're right.
But I'll say this. LeBron, if anybody can do it, I don't know the last time we saw someone play at age 39 at the level that he's playing. I mean, I guess probably Kareem would have been the only other guy who was playing it. But even him,
nobody has ever done what LeBron is doing right now. Nobody even close is doing it.
To put it in perspective, age 39 was Michael Jordan's last year with the Wizards.
And he was limping around just a shell. No one has ever done what LeBron has done, and he's going to continue to do things that no one has ever done before.
LeBron was this year probably, I don't know, top 20 player in the league.
Yeah.
And I would expect him to be that again next year. I didn't notice.
So if you think you're a top 20 player, you giving any money back?
I mean, I think it depends on what your priority is. Do you feel like if he feels like it will honestly help his team, I could see him doing it.
Maybe.
But
I'd get to pick where the money goes.
That's what I'm saying.
If I'm picking it in, I get to play a GM for a moment.
He is going to have a say in the matters if that's the case, like you would. I mean, he's already got a pretty good say in what goes on there, but this would be almost like, yeah, this to the dollar, this is where it's going. So
on our Brigade Bar Money Paradox, to play with your son, yes. Let me put you in the real world money paradox. If the Lakers allow LeBron a full contract and have him sitting as the 12th guy on the bench, they have sealed their own doom. I'm just going to lay it out there. If Bronny is on the team, this is going to be such a shallow team anyway, with a bunch of guys that, there's talent there. I'm not questioning that. But if Bronny is eating up a spot that could be of value, they have sealed their own doom.
I think you're probably right. And this is where you and I, like when we were arguing about this a week ago, like I was saying, I think this is a big mistake. I think that that JJ Redick's going to feel a lot of pressure to play him. And you were like, it's not a big deal. But then I think
it's not a big deal in that he has the talent to play in the NBA.
Right, but I think once we started talking about the idea that it would be a guaranteed contract.
No, you wouldn't give that guy 2 guaranteed money. That means he's sitting on the bench at every game. I mean, the spot that he takes, the vacuum that he has on the court, the guy's played 9 games in the last 2 years. It would just be cataclysmic. You're going in with one less bullet than everybody else in the league. I mean, you're tying your hands behind your back on what is already going to be a team that is so reliant on bench help that you just can't. I can't even fathom what their plan is.
And that's what I think our disconnect was that you didn't even picture a world where that would be an option.
Yeah.
And I'm, in my mind, I think it's almost a certainty.
Well, I don't believe that's going to happen, especially if they have to pay him, because it's ridiculous to invest that kind of money in a kid that's not going to give you anything. And you're in a title run. You're running out of LeBron years.
Well, and that's the thing. And LeBron probably understands that as soon as he leaves, Bronny's probably not long for the NBA.
Yeah.
Because if let's say Bronny's barely good enough to make the NBA right now, chances are good someone's going to come up behind him who's better. And
there's already guys there better.
Yeah.
He's not a bad baller. I'm never going to get off that mountain, but he's not ready. I mean, he's a kid who's not played any and needs a lot of seasoning even to be remotely prepared to be an NBA guard. Even if he had gone to college and played lots of minutes, he's still a long way away. And to put him as the 12th guy on the bench and have him eat the salary and the space, that's ridiculous.
Well, the reason apparently why LeBron would be willing to do this is because the Lakers are apparently kicking the tires on Klay Thompson. And it looks like Klay Thompson is leaving the Golden State Warriors. How he leaves is still TBD. Like they're still talking about doing a sign-in trade. Like
it would be for a team to get Klay Thompson for the money that he's going to command, because he's going to get more than he's worth. A sign-in trade is really the only way to make this thing work. You're going to have to bring some money out. It would make it the most amenable way to move Klay Thompson is suddenly to sign him and then, assign a cash value to him and let that play its way out than letting him just drift like this.
If I'm the Warriors, I just let him go.
You can't, in this world, let it happen like that. I know you can bounce back, and the NFL's kind of proving that teams are now trying it. The Russell Wilson just departure from Denver. But for the most part, it's doom if you let that kind of talent just walk out the door. Like the Clippers are just letting George walk out the door. That's doom. You just can't exist in a world like that for a couple of years because the talent void is so huge.
You know what I think is worse, though? Is signing guys like Draymond Green to a $100 million contract when he's no longer Draymond Green. And
that's for work done. They're cashing in chips for that. You're right.
And you know what? We're going to talk about this later on in the show, but that's what in fact, we can do that next. Talk about what the Warriors are doing. Like, what's the plan here? Because we're seeing things go in different directions that don't really fit together. It's incongruent, I guess, would be the best way to put it. We'll talk about that next. Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up Monday on The Blitz, Joe Reinigo returns with his sunburn from his vacation in Mexico. We'll be all over NBA free agency and what the Spurs might be doing. Stephon Castle had his introductory press conference on Saturday. We'll have the details there and any more beef between Micah and Malik Hooker. The Blitz, Monday at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million are now up to a record $16 million in guaranteed prizes. 2 ways to win and no rate. Circa Survivor contestants select one team each week with no point spread. Last the longest to win it all with $10 million guaranteed. In Circa Million, make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed through quarterly and full season payouts. Enter in Nevada. Play from anywhere. Visit circasports.com for details.
Joe Reinagle here. I want to tell you about something that has completely changed my life. I had vision correction surgery at Parkhurst New Vision. The results are amazing. The readers are a thing of the past. Hey, if you're like me and tired of those glasses, call Parkhurst New Vision at 210-585-2020. They offer a variety of services like vision correction surgery. So call Parkhurst New Vision, 210-585-2020, or get them online at sanantoniolasik.com. You know, living here in San Antonio and South Texas, a water softener is almost a requirement. The water is hard. You know this. It affects your appliances and all of that kind of stuff. And the best water softener to buy is a Connecticut quality water softener. Connecticut's been serving San Antonio for over 50 years. They're made in America, up to 80% more efficient than competing models. Got a simple design, fewer moving parts, and the best thing about it is there's nothing to plug in. There won't be an increase in your electric bill. Connecticut quality water softeners are the best in the business, and right now they have got the best deal for you. Connecticut is going to let you try a quality water softener in your home for 90 days, absolutely free with no contract. Call them today. 656-PURE. That's 656-7873 or ConnecticutSA.com. You know the jingle. Sing it with me. Connecticut, the last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE. Connecticut.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is Jason Minix from The Blitz. You're listening to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Boom, 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 boom. Morning Huddle 94.1. Klay Thompson, like I said, LeBron reached out to Klay Thompson as soon as free agency began on Sunday.
Any before it would have been tampering. So of course they hadn't spoken for years.
He reached out to him on Schlossnagle Sunday, which is Saturday.
You know, did you see him yesterday, dude? Anyway,
are you mad still?
Man, dude. Anyway,
what's the statute of limitations before you're just like, yeah, I'm over it?
I'm telling you, I'm gonna. There's a cadre of Aggies that are like, one day, baby, one day. I don't know how, but we're gonna get you.
Okay,
one way or another.
What would be worse? Texas winning a football national championship this year, or a baseball national championship?
Oh, baseball, far and away.
For
far and away. Baseball. Are you kidding me? Because the football team, it's not ill-gotten gains. I mean, wow, let's dig up some out of context. It's not ill-gotten gains on the football team. Respect. You went out and recruited the guys. You got your coach. You did everything the way you're supposed to. You didn't go steal somebody's coach. And
but they're coming to the SEC, and it's, it was your territory.
Oh, don't worry. There's still plenty of resentment out there. But as far as if I woke up on February the 1st and Texas had won a national championship, as opposed to if I woke up to July the 1st and the baseball team had won a national championship, that baseball thing would hurt even more because,
especially year one.
Yeah, like, dude, this was, and like 4 guys from A&M wearing burn orange.
Yeah,
you know what
for
I mean?
sure.
Like, okay, but karma's a bitch.
Yes, it is. All right, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors, because this is I don't even know how to describe where they're at right now, but losing Klay Thompson is, I don't think on its own a disaster, but I do think when you factor in that they're kind of being pulled in 2 different directions from a leadership standpoint, and I don't know who's making all these decisions, but it does seem like there's now no youth movement in place, and it seems like they're not going to do anything to help out the old dogs that are there.
Well, I'll let you look at the timing. So Steph's contract extended through 25-26. Steve Kerr has a contract through 25-26. This is they're going to attempt over this year and next to change the tires, change a flat, doing 50 miles an hour, because they're going to do whatever they can. Steph has got a decision to make. Not only is his coach going to leave, but his contract's going to expire. Not at the end of, he's got 2 more years. The Golden State Warriors are blowing this thing up. They're either expecting Steph to leave, or they've got a year and a half to do everything they can to keep Kerr around, because Kerr's contract expires when Steph's expires. I don't think that's a coinkydink. I don't think that's a coincidence. Either they're going to exit together, or they're going to work together to fix the flat while still speeding down the highway.
The thing that probably stings the worst right now is with this Chris Paul waiving, is that you gave up so much to get him and got nothing for it. And as far as draft picks go, they gave up one first rounder, and it's a 2030 top 20 protected draft. Okay, big deal. But you gave up Pat Baldwin and you gave up Jordan Poole, and Jordan Poole was seemingly, and I don't know, maybe they looked at, and Jordan Poole the year before the playoffs, before they traded him, they were like, oh boy, maybe this whole not being able to play defense thing is actually a big issue.
There was also the Draymond punch. Remember, there was some and they chose the wrong dude.
They chose the wrong dude. So they paid Draymond $100 million, send Jordan Poole out for Chris Paul, and now they're having to eat $30 million for Chris Paul to leave. I mean,
the
Wizards think about that. The Wizards not only dumped Bradley Beal, took Chris Paul back in that deal, dumped him. The Wizards played that right. Now that
for the
in
first
hindsight,
time in history, they got a long-term move correct.
They said, man, neither one of these assets is a long-term thing for us. We need to get out of this Bradley Beal business, and we don't want to be in the Chris Paul business. They did the right thing. Good for them. But it does this certainly marks the end of the Golden State dynasty, not because they can't win without Klay Thompson. I don't believe that's the case. I think Klay Thompson at this point is kind of just a guy. He's going to get paid like more than just a guy, but I think he's kind of just a guy.
But he's a guy that's capable of ripping off 35. You know what I mean? Every now and then you're going to get a Klay Thompson night where he's going to just not miss.
The downside to me of Klay Thompson is like he's no longer a good defender.
That's the problem.
And when Klay Thompson was great, he was maybe the best two-way player in the league. At least in that
he guarded 3 guys, locked down, open court in the paint. He was the most unheralded best defender out there in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
He was far better defensively than even Bruce Bowen. Bowen had this reputation, but what Klay was legitimately, who's your hottest guy, he's going to lock you down for 2-3 years.
Well, and the reason why Bowen had that reputation is because he wasn't an elite offensive player.
Right.
Klay
was a better on-ball defender than Bruce ever was. Different positions, kind of, but for the same idea. They had a role to play, but Klay brought so much more offense that unprecedented the way that he was capable of doing both as well as he was. Because Klay never really demanded the ball. He wasn't a guy that was had to have it. He was the guy that was always the safety. He
benefited from the gravity of
absolutely,
Steph Curry.
And he was capable of catch and shoot like no one in history.
The Warriors are married to Draymond Green through 27.
Yep.
They are married to Andrew Wiggins through 27.
I'm not sure Wiggins will see the end of that deal.
I'm not sure he will either. Neither one of those contracts looks good.
But nobody's going to touch Draymond.
No. It's funny because I thought at the time, like, if you had told me 2 years ago that you'd have Wiggins for the next 4 years at under 30 a year, I would have been like, man, that's a great deal, because
they did.
it looked like Andrew Wiggins had finally figured out basketball. Like he had finally we'd unlocked Andrew Wiggins, who I don't know how many people remember Andrew Wiggins coming out of high school was like, he was expected to be the next big thing, and goes to Kansas for a year. And then, he's been a guy.
His growth was stunted early. He seemed like such the candidate. He really did look like he'd been prepared. He didn't get a lot of great minutes at Kansas, but enough to show you this guy's got something coming. And
goes number one. And
what happened in that first 2 years, it just didn't catch. I think there's still star potential. I still think it's there,
but
given the right atmosphere, but it's not going to be in Golden State.
Well, and the year that Golden State got it together, it was like, man, he's a perfect fit for them.
Mm-hmm.
A guy who can defend, a guy who can score if you need him to, a guy can do a little bit of everything. And since that title, he's just kind of gone back into hibernation as just a guy again.
You forget the pub behind him.
Oh yeah,
cover of every magazine.
And he was expected to be the next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad contract now. Draymond's a bad contract. How did you not? And is it possible that they didn't anticipate Clay falling off so fast? Because you wouldn't have paid Draymond if you thought that this was the end of Clay.
I will tell you, the end of the Golden State era happened while they were still playing, and it was the Wiseman mistake. That draft, they thought they had pulled off a coup. They bring in a big that is going to was really going to replace what Draymond did. What's his name that's now doing TV? Bob, whatever his name is, that's doing TV for ESPN. He did see over the curve of the earth. He saw big man basketball coming, that Draymond was not the style of Draymond guys. It's gone. You can't be a 6'8" post anymore. It's just, now we got 7'5" dudes doing what you do, and you can't guard them. I mean, it just, his flavor of basketball has passed him by, and they saw it coming. They went and got a Wiseman to kind of prepare for the imminent change in the way that we play the game of basketball at the NBA level. And Wiseman didn't work out, and they kept being reactive every time from that. And that's why Draymond is still there. They didn't plan on Draymond still being a Warrior today. They didn't plan on that at all.
No, I don't disagree with that. I remember that draft. I'm almost certain the Warriors would have rather taken a different player, but
he looked like David Robinson for 8 games at Memphis. I don't blame him, but it was a whiff of monumental proportions.
So Anthony Edwards is the guy who went first in that draft. And I'd have to, I can see like a couple picks here, but my guess is LaMelo, Tyrese Halliburton, and Tyrese Maxey are the 3 most successful guys from that draft outside of Anthony Edwards.
No, look at we got a Kongwu, a Okoro. Imagine if they had that kind of athleticism on the edge. Obi Toppin, who just signed another deal. Think of the athleticism they could have had at power forward there. Devin Vassell would have helped them for what they had. They drafted an utter disaster.
Yeah, it went about as poorly as possible. But they looked at it like, oh, the best players in this draft all are guards, and that's the one spot where we're set.
Jaden McDaniel sitting there. There was some significant talent that they whiffed on. And then they continued
James Wiseman was such a weird.
Well, they've continued to build as if he was going to turn out. They kept getting guys to play around Wiseman, and it didn't work.
No, and then they drafted some guy like they found Jordan, nice player, and then they let him go. And it was like, I remember when the Warriors won that most recent title, I was like, man, they have really set themselves up in a way that is unprecedented, because it's so rare for a team to be competing at the highest level and also seemingly have yourself set up for a decent future. Like it's very rare. And when at the time they had the hope of Wiseman, they had Jordan Poole,
Kuminga,
they had Kuminga, they had it really at the time. It looked like Andrew Wiggins was going to be the torch was going to be passed to him, and you knew Steph. It would only last so long. I mean, I believe Steph will never play for another NBA team.
But he's going to be marooned on a bad team for a couple years.
I never thought Clay would have either. And I think if the Warriors had anticipated Clay falling off the way he did, they would have never re-signed Draymond.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, again, Wiseman was supposed to be there. Draymond was supposed to be gone. They would have Poole could have been the next if it happened, but he didn't get along with Draymond. Kuminga there's something wrong. I don't know exactly what. Wiggins, never really took off. So some tactical errors, but at the same time, a poor decision and a bad draft pick. You didn't know what Wiseman was going to be because there was just so little evidence. You just hoped, and it was just an error that every franchise runs through it. I mean, you just can't hold on forever, and you try to change the tires moving, and it's just not going to happen now. And the timing is such where whoever the next head coach will be in 27, this roster will be completely void of everybody but Steph by the time that happens in 2 years. The exodus is coming,
which is sad.
Yeah, I mean, such is the turn. So did the Spurs go through it, and everybody else is going to go through it. They had their run, and it was one of the best in history.
But at least with the Spurs, you can point to someone and go, "That's why things fell apart." Like this is.
Well, I'm pointing at Wiseman. I think that tactical mistake at that high end, the ripple from that point on, you go, well, that because they did that, they did this, and because they did this, they did this, and then the end result is everybody's hurt, old, and gone.
And Clay is going to get more money than he probably deserves at this point. Dallas seems to be maybe the front runner for this, and that's what's interesting to me. Like I've spent 10 minutes here talking about how Clay has fallen off, and that in the most recent injury was like kind of the death knell to what he was. But if Clay is a role player, there's still a role for a guy like him. It's just Clay can't be a 36 minute a night guy, and like that Clay is gone. But I do think I think there's still a role for Klay Thompson. It's if you put him around, if you surround him with the right people.
He has the most important skill in basketball. He can still shoot. He doesn't have to dribble. In fact, I would go, if you have the ball, I want Klay to have 15 touches a game, but I don't think he should have the ball for more than 2 seconds at a time. You know what I mean? And I judge him by that. And I pull him like, dude, your job is to catch and shoot and defend as best you can. You know what I mean? And if you're not doing that, you sit down. He still has a skill set that is worth the money he's going to get, because he will next year, whatever team he's on, have 4 or 5 games where he goes off for 40. I mean, he's got that kind of run still left in him.
The problem with putting him on the Mavericks is, in a way, like for what you're talking about, like I'd like him to just stand in the corner and wait for the ball. On the Mavericks, he'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because the gravity of Luka and Kyrie it's going to lead to open opportunities for Klay. The downside is, boy, you are basically punting defense if you're Dallas, because your 3 best players, none of them are plus defenders.
It's Jason Kidd. Their defense, I mean, they've got that front line to protect. So you don't have to do a lot. Clay will make, just stand on the edge and defend whoever you can. But they'll probably put him on the power forward when he's in there. He won't have to defend on the exterior. He'll just lean into whoever's got the ball in the paint and make that sprint to the 3-point line. And there's nobody else in the league more prepared to be a bailout shooter than Klay Thompson. I mean, if you want a guy that's going to get the ball with 4 seconds left in the shot clock, which is the kind of guy you got to be when you're playing with Luka, you're going to have to catch and shoot it pretty quick. And that's a skill set that is very unique in the NBA, and he's got it. So he's going to command it, and he's going to get that kind of money and not have to work as hard as most people would for that kind of money.
Are the Warriors going to be a playoff team this year?
No.
Is it like when you say it's over, you mean it's like over?
Savvy will keep them in it. I mean, Steph Curry's worth 25 games on it. You know what I mean? Savvy will keep them competitive, but for them to have any logical expectation of getting through the first round, they're a first round victim. They're a 6, 7, 8 seed. That's what they are.
They were the 10 seed this year. They were 46 and 36.
If they make it to that, I mean, 46 wins on this team. Let's be realistic, especially in the knife fight that is the West, because with every win the Spurs pick up, which they're going to, somebody's going to lose one. And the most likely candidates are like the Golden State Warriors, those upper mids.
Well, by the way, every win the Spurs pick up, but I expect the Grizzlies to pick up a lot of wins.
There's that. Absolutely.
The Grizzlies won 27 games last year, and that's a good team.
So with the Grizz and the Spurs picking up wins, somebody's going to be losing those games.
I got a feeling it's the it's the Phoenixes and it's the Warriors. Like those teams, it may be an ugly drop for the Warriors, particularly if they go through a stretch this year where
go look at that roster. It's a lot of who's that's.
I mean, if Steph twists an ankle and he's out for 3 weeks, like
think about, okay, this is a good example of where Golden State is. Think about where they'd be if that kid from Indiana that they drafted late in the second round, Trace Jackson
Davis.
Yeah. If it wasn't for picking that kid up, who valuable minutes.
Yeah.
How many games they would have lost.
I don't know why he lasted as long as he did. Like, I was a baller in college.
Undersized was the thing. Undersized, didn't have an outside shot, but that's Steve Kerr. I mean, he put him to work, but the fact is there was a void for him to fill. They didn't have anybody else, and it worked out. And if it hadn't, how much worse it could have been a
disaster. Could have been a disaster. I mean, I think at this point, Golden State losing in the play-in round probably is a disaster in their minds, but I don't think it's going to get better before it gets worse. So,
good news for the Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. Good news for the Spurs. Good news for almost. Listen, man,
for the league.
As someone, and I just said this, I love watching greatness, and I've loved watching this Golden State dynasty. Like to me, that Golden State team, if you're a fan of basketball but not of any particular team,
it worked.
Particularly the early title teams with before. I know when KD got there, it became a super team, but their first couple titles, it was the most fun basketball to watch.
Is it wrong to compare in hindsight that first couple years of Steph with Caitlin? There was a sense of, you're not really a fan of basketball. You're just a Steph Curry fan. There was a sense for 14, 15, a sense that Steph, the little guy shooting from the logo, but that's not really basketball,
Steph was, I mean, by the time Steph didn't win right away.
No, he got a lot of credit for hitting a whole bunch of threes and having bad ankles.
And Steph came into the league with minimal hype. You remember,
remember that tournament he had? No, the tournament he had coming out. Where he was that little school? Davidson. He lit it up in the tournament. He went from a no name to wow, this kid is different in about 6 months. And by the time he got to Golden State, he was a force, and he got a lot of reputation really early on. But he was less than earned.
Wasn't a top 5 pick, and
was he even a top 10?
He was 7th, I believe. 7th? But the idea that I say that like I know. I think he was the 7th pick, but the idea that 6 or however many other guys got picked before him in hindsight, and he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. It's like the Warriors found that guy.
I wouldn't have drafted him. I'm telling you, a little skinny guy like that with bad ankles at that time in the league.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, this is.
I would look at
this is.
Johnny Flynn went ahead of him.
The Rockets were so in love with Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn, both two guys who couldn't play a lick in the league. This draft was that. Remember, the T-Wolves took both those point guards, and I think they took Ty Lawson as well in this draft. They took 3 point guards in the first round. Turns out none of them could play.
Quantity never better than quality.
No. But yeah, the idea that he was the 7th pick in the draft and he's like an all-time great player, and really all the guys that the Warriors put that together with, Clay was not a top 5 pick. Draymond was a second rounder. It was like they built this team kind of on like with it was a smart front office, obviously, who saw this talent, evaluated it, and said, hey, we think we could put something special together here. But not just how it was built. It was, again,
Bob Myers was the guy.
Bob Myers, yep. If you're not loyal to any team, which I wasn't, I haven't been loyal to any team since James Harden went to the Rockets. I was out. But watching this Warriors team was the most fun you could have watching basketball. It was beautiful basketball.
Yeah, we got Zaza, and I couldn't get over that.
It was
Zaza,
constant ball movement. It was a beautiful thing to watch. So it is kind of sad for me to see it go, but also it's like it's time, and it'll never be, you will never see the Splash Brothers like that run where those two dudes, where it was like if it ended up in one of their hands, you were dead.
Well, I'm salty because the Spurs had a title team with Kawhi, but for Zaza's big foot.
Yeah.
It began the era and it ended another.
Yeah. But it almost always goes that way.
Yeah.
Like there's always something that marks the end of it. And then that happened to be it.
Zaza.
But yeah, so for me as someone who I could care less about the Warriors at the time, certainly, but they'd come on TNT at night and you go, oh my God, look how they play.
Can you envision Golden State being a destination once Steph is gone?
Yes.
There's a lot of us that remember Golden State as a place that you went to disappear. That if you landed, you were Joe Barry Carroll, you were Mitch Richmond, you were, well, a lot of dudes that showed up and you made a little playoff run, got a little press, but at the end of the day, you were an afterthought. You were Memphis.
Steph changed that forever.
Do you think it'll bring it back?
Steph changed it forever because they moved from Oakland to San Francisco, and it's a different market. Is
it a place that you still want to go live because of the reputation the Bay Area has, the taxes? I get the sense that once Steph gone,
people still want to go play in LA.
LA is different. I will say LA is LA, but I think that once Steph is gone, they're a lot like San Antonio. They're going to have to go draft and find a Wemby to get that kind of.
I don't know. San Francisco is looked at as like a very metropolitan city. It's looked at as a cultured city.
It's looked at as failed. I mean, the taxes. I'm just saying.
No, I get that, but like,
how many are they going to turn into Chicago? I mean, because Chicago's supposed to be a destination. I haven't seen a lot of people really desperate to go lead the Bulls into the promised land again.
No, I don't know. Maybe you're right, but yeah, I mean, Steph got them that new building. He got them. Steph really. They should give him a percentage of the franchise. Like he's that important to what that, because you're right. If he were still in that place in Oakland and Oracle, oh boy, without all those rings,
it's really nice. I'm not saying that they're building it nice, but I'll tell you what, without a Steph there, without a Curry there, or Steve Kerr, I don't know if it's a place I want to be.
All right, let's get into some more Chris Paul talk on the other side. How's he going to fit? How's he going to help? What's his role going to be?
And how much is the number 3 worth?
That's right. It's Morning Huddle 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
On your ride to work, it's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson, KTFM Floresville.
Is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Raid wants to know, what would you do if you could confidently face every day knowing you and your loved ones are protected? Would you sing along to your favorite song at the top of your lungs? Turn off the GPS and let your heart do the guiding? Go to the drive-thru and order one of everything? Feel the buzz of confidence of knowing you are protected with 65 years of insect science in your hands. Raid. Protection for everyone.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Summer's greatest hits are going on now, and Macy's July 4th sale has summer's greatest savings, like 20 to 60% off warm weather styles to refresh your look. Shop amazing limited time specials like swim and cover-ups for your next beach day, 50% off. And sandals from On 34th, Tommy Hilfiger, and more, 30 to 40% off. Going on now at Macy's. Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase, except gift cards, services, and fees. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Center.
The San Antonio Spurs started free agency off with a bang. They signed 12-time All-Star Chris Paul to a one-year, $11 million deal. The 39-year-old averaged 9.2 points a game, 6.8 assists, and almost 2 steals a game with Golden State Warriors last year. The Spurs might not be done. They do have interest in the Philadelphia 76ers free agent Tobias Harris, who is also drawing interest from Detroit, Utah, and Dallas. I'm Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 100% satisfaction guarantee.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Morning Huddle. Good morning it is. A good morning it is for Tyrese Maxey. 5 years. Oh boy. $204 million.
Can you imagine signing that contract? Tyrese Maxey, I don't know him personally, but I feel like I've watched that kid grow up in gyms around Texas. You know, he's North Dallas guy. Stayed in Texas to play high school ball, could have gone other places. Just a one of the magnetic young faces of all of sports, not just basketball. Congratulations to the kid. $204 million. He made it. He did it.
That is a lot of dough.
Did it.
Good on him. God bless him. Like I said, man, Philadelphia is making some moves. This is
man. Can you, Philly fan, don't screw this up. You know what I mean? This is as good a situation you have been in since you had, well, the doctor and Charles and Moses. I mean, you've got more talent than you've had in 40 years.
Yeah. I mean, this is it's going to be hard to not. I mean, injuries can happen. Injuries could happen to any team, but that's the only thing that I can even picture slowing this team down. Like on paper, this is a squad, man.
Looks like fun too.
I think they got a decent coach there. To me, there's a lot to be excited about for that team. But, Tyrese Maxey joining Paul George and Joel Embiid now as the long-term future is set.
So we'll spend the week in this term about the second apron is going to be the conversation all week long, because it's that part of the players' agreement that third superstar's tax money, the luxury tax, the kickback for the pay, is so exorbitant. It is you have immediately put a timer on your team the moment you spend that kind of money, because there will come a time in the next year and a half, 2 years from now, where if you're winning, you can't afford, and if you've lost, you've thrown money away.
Right.
That's the situation, and I love this. I love that when teams decide, all right, we're in.
Yeah,
cards in the middle. This is what we're doing.
Well, the Sixers have certainly reached that point of the game. Their cards are
well, this is it, man. Flip the card.
Jerry Jones, I think, would understand that all in is all in here.
Your definition of what is all in and mine might not be the same thing.
I think in this case, I think it is. Well, maybe not.
I think it might be the other side of the coin. For
everybody can have their own definition of what that means, but I've never not known us to be all in.
Yeah,
this is all in, man. 200. How much money have they're going to spend today? $500 million. They spent $200 million on Maxey. You gonna? I don't know what George is, but it's close.
It's like I think he's close to 200.
So we're up right at $400 million right there. Embiid's money, they got half a bill in salary.
Good for those guys. Good for those guys, man. So you're looking at Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, and Jared McCain, I guess. It could be worse. Things could be worse.
I love the got to keep up with the Joneses. I love that there are franchises that mirror each other, like Philly and Boston. They look at each other. What did they do? We got to keep up. Well, and I think the Knicks, those three franchises stare at each other going, what did they do? We don't have to win the world. We just got to win the Northeast kind of idea about winning hearts and minds. When the Spurs and the Mavericks were with Dirk and Tim, there was a tit for tat, this and that. You did that. We got to do this kind of thing. I think that spurs the arms movement. I think it makes you spin more than you want to, but it makes that kind of competitive, crucible inside of a little division or a region important. It matters. And I think as San Antonio rises and Houston is rising with Dallas, you get caught up in that. And it makes teams better, but it also makes teams make dumb decisions.
They also signed Andre Drummond and Eric Gordon. So the Sixers, they're spending. Now, again, they've had Tobias Harris being off the books is huge. I'm surprised that they're still that they came out okay from the Buddy Hield decision because and it
was a worthy effort.
I thought it. I mean, listen, man, I thought there's no way it doesn't work out better than it did. Like if you had shown me now exactly what they did with Buddy Hield, I would have said that's impossible. Like what's the floor of how bad Buddy Hield can be in Philly? I would have said it's higher than what it actually ended up being. So
I don't think Hield's a bad guy.
I don't either. I just think
some guys are starters.
Situation.
Well, I think some guys are starters. They have to be there and when the game gets going to get themselves in it. And some guys are capable of coming off the bench. And Buddy Hield is not capable of coming off the bench and getting things going. He has to have that, be out there with the tip. He has to get things moving. And for him to be success, he's going to have to go find himself another starter gig. It just wasn't going to happen in Philly, unfortunately.
But it's a new age, man, because they're moving on from Harris and Hield and Nick Batum and Kyle Lowry and Bobby Covington, DeAnthony Melton, all those guys
I like. Every one of those guys are NBA stars, but it just shows what the transition that's required to keep up with the world champions.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if they're all NBA stars. They're all good, solid NBA pros. But the difference is now they've got 3 stars, and depth is going to be an issue. Getting a guy like Eric Gordon's nice. He's a nice piece off the bench for you. I think Andre Drummond he's certainly not Joel Embiid, but at least you don't fall off the map defensively if Joel does get hurt.
He'll grab a rebound this day.
And I think Kelly Oubre is he's a nice he's a nice role player. I think there's some stuff that is going to be an issue for this team. They're about an 8-man team, and an 8-man team when you've got injury issues is not ideal. Ask the LA Lakers,
man. And you've got to trust that George and Embiid stay healthy. You've got a short window. You'll see a lot of games. Nobody's chasing any other kind of award. I don't think any of Maxey probably will play more than 65 games, but the other 2 won't. This will be a team that will be spending everything after the new year from January 1st to 25. Everything they do will be in preparation for April. They'll be counting minutes. They'll be counting games and things like that just to get themselves in the playoff because they have to be fully manned to go beat the Celtics.
And you know what? I think the Bucks are going to be better this year with Giannis and Dame. Like another year working together, I wouldn't be shocked if they're better.
I'm going to reserve judgment on that. I think that their chance was last year.
Okay,
it didn't work. And when it didn't work in Phoenix that first year, we said give it another year, and it didn't. We said it didn't work in Dallas, and it did. So maybe it's 50-50 on this one, but I'm going to withhold on this one because the East has just got so much better.
And here's the other thing. I don't believe. Maybe you can check this for me, Edwin. I don't believe Philly's used their exception yet.
So they're a destination now. You want to talk about taking a pay cut to go play someplace? They're first on the list.
If you're a ring chaser, that's a good place to be, man. That is a good place to be right now. So there's going to be some guy who says, you know what?
We're coming up to, and this is a worthy conversation. We talk about ring chasing because if there's anybody left in the league that has every right to go chase a ring and get on a roster, it's Chris Paul.
It is.
He is the guy that's left that doesn't have the ring. He's it. There's a couple of the peripheral dudes that we'll talk about in the future that, he never got a ring. But Chris Paul, you feel like there is a desire, a need from the league, from fans, from State Farm. Go get a ring, for heaven's sakes. And he chose San Antonio.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why.
Well, you had an interesting thought earlier that the more I've let gestate might be more and more realistic. Why on earth would a dude that is desperate to get a ring that will go and take it for $11 million? I mean, everybody's got an $11 million exception. Every team in this league could have afforded that. Why did he choose San Antonio?
And I think it's a place that lets him sort of build his stock back up. And I think because I also think and if you didn't hear the early part of the show, I believe that Chris Paul will be traded at the deadline. And
do you think that's a wink deal between Pop and he? Like, hey, man, if there's a place for you to land to go get a ring, I'll do everything I can to get you there.
I absolutely believe that. And the only because otherwise it doesn't make sense that he's here.
Well, there's some other pieces to this puzzle that I do think that are worthy of discussion that the Spurs have done over the last 72 hours that might play into what you're talking about.
But if you say, okay, you're $11 million,
which is nothing,
and you're automatically an expiring contract, think about the value of that as a trade piece. And what have we been saying? There's a reason why the Spurs keep stockpiling this cash of draft picks. They want to make something big happen. This obviously isn't it. The only thing that would have been acceptable as the big thing happening this year would have been Paul George. So now you push that plan back a year. You hit the free agent market as hard as you can next year, or a sign and trade next year, and you've got more stuff to do it with. And an expiring $11 million contract, someone who's only going to be on your team for a playoff stretch, is very enticing to a team that's a contender, especially a guy who's got a ton of experience, got a ton, is looked at as a locker room leader, looked at as a respected guy in pretty much every locker room. You've got a good asset now, and it's an easily moved asset. And again, the one instance where I can see you being right and they keep him for the whole year is if they are in contention. Like if somehow they're going to make the playoffs, you're not going to bust that thing up.
I agree.
But again, the 10 seed in the West last year won 46 games. The Spurs won 22. I don't know if there's enough, in the war chest to take this thing from 22 to 46 overnight. So I tend to believe they're trying to push it down the road a year.
I think they're playing chess here. I do agree that they've got their options open. But as we sit, really interesting to find that the Devontae Graham, which you figured was just kind of a de rigueur, we're going to release you, move on, and go with God. You did what you could with us. You helped our young guys, but now there's no more room. When they decided to move the deadline to offer him the extension to next Sunday, that tells me that he is now in play as either plan C as a backup point guard if they move Chris Paul, or that, if they still feel like there's some guidance required, or Castle might not be the two, or he's going to play a role in going and getting somebody.
Yeah.
And I believe that's probably the more likely scenario. Now that Chris Paul's been signed, I think Devontae is going to play a role in a trade. Even though the value of his contract is small, the position matters. So I think that there's a move afoot either to reinforce that guard spot even more or to go get somebody here in the next 3 or 4 days. But it'll have to happen for that deadline with Devontae, which is next Sunday.
Which my guess is, I don't know. I think if they were going to add something else, they probably would have drafted a guy.
I think they're going to get they picked up. There's somebody else going to get signed here in the next 36 hours before Sunday. Something's going to happen. There's another guy coming. I have no doubt in my mind. Now, the level of pay and the tier might be not as high as some people would hope, but there's still room and money to go get somebody now. They only spent $11 million. This is the mid-level exception. They still have some room. Especially if they move Devontae in whatever deal that could be coming.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. And there was the other move the Spurs made was the Barlow move, and I was reading rumors they may be looking to bring him back.
I would like to see him. I don't think anybody who saw him play wouldn't be, but he probably is worth more than the Spurs are going to be capable of paying him. One. This poor guy just made a mistake. He should have gone to college. He should have spent some time there instead of trying to learn the game on the run. I don't think he'll be back.
It's just, that G League, man, I've never been a fan.
That was a mistake.
I'm just a believer that, and especially the G League starting to pay guys came right in step with the NIL coming around. And it's like, all it tells me is you're just unwilling to even half-ass it as a student.
That's how
for
it
a year.
feels.
And I don't want guys like that.
All these guys seem like, going back to Jalen Green, they're just free-range chickens. They've got all the skill, but it takes 2 years to just get them moving. Now, we saw Cole Anthony is another one of those types. He just got paid, but, his first couple years were trying to find his way, trying to figure out how to be a professional athlete. I think Barlow is going to be in the NBA and probably be a pretty good player eventually, but the Spurs don't have time nor the room
But
right
Cole
now.
Anthony played college ball. Cole Anthony went to North Carolina.
I'm not talking about Cole Anthony.
Oh, who are you talking about then?
As far as I said Cole Anthony. I'm talking about Detroit Pistons.
Oh, Cade Cunningham.
Well,
he played at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Though. He decided to do a year.
But that year was not enough.
No.
It just probably should have been more time because he ended on a bad team and got bad habits. Still got paid, but a lot of these guys get lost.
Yeah. There's been some other moves in free agency that probably aren't looked at as big splash moves, but worth mentioning. We'll talk about those on the other side. Some looks around the league at some guys who I think can be real impactful. Some Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up Monday on The Blitz, Joe Reinigo returns with his sunburn from his vacation in Mexico. We'll be all over NBA free agency and what the Spurs might be doing. Stephon Castle had his introductory press conference on Saturday. We'll have the details there and any more beef between Micah and Malik Hooker. The Blitz, Monday at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
My name is John. I could not lose the weight I needed to. The Institute for Functional Health Wellness program was the answer. It included a great deal of testing, supplements, and weekly face-to-face doctor visits. I finally had the accountability I needed. I am now 50 pounds lighter. I no longer have pain in my elbow, back, and hips. I have more energy and just feel and look so much better.
Call for your complimentary consultation, 210-468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health.
Over the past decade, the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the UFC fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and certainly the best place to watch a game. The Roo Pub is next to the Angry Elephant and in the same plaza as the Big Blind there at 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
This summer, click into easier yard cleanup with same-day delivery from the Home Depot. Click into clearing overgrown grass or weeds with effortless gas-like power. And click into the convenience of a battery platform compatible with over 250 tools with the Milwaukee M18 fuel trimmer, now for just $199. Click into power with 4th of July savings now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m. subject to availability.
The wait is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
You know, living here in San Antonio and South Texas, a water softener is almost a requirement. The water is hard. You know this. It affects your appliances and all of that kind of stuff. And the best water softener to buy is a Connecticut quality water softener. Connecticut's been serving San Antonio for over 50 years. They're made in America, up to 80% more efficient than competing models. Got a simple design, fewer moving parts, and the best thing about it is there's nothing to plug in. There won't be an increase in your electric bill. Connecticut quality water softeners are the best in the business, and right now they have got the best deal for you. Connecticut is going to let you try a quality water softener in your home for 90 days, absolutely free with no contract. Call them today. 656-PURE. That's 656-7873 or ConnecticutSA.com. You know the jingle. Sing it with me. Connecticut, the last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE. Connecticut.
You're locked on the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
It's showtime.
Morning Huddle 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. As you hear in the background, Edwin is dribbling in the control room, dribbling a ball while we work here.
Pure
point guard.
Yeah,
he's a pure point. Just pass first.
Feel that.
Willing passer.
Yeah, there was some discussion about signing Edwin instead of Chris Paul. Edwin was asking for more money, oddly enough.
Edwin's got a little bit more lateral quickness than
120
Chris Paul
million
still does.
Yeah, Edwin, he wouldn't. They were like, he's like, I'm not doing the mid-level. What do you think I am? Let's take a look. We've talked about free agency and some of the big names. I mentioned Kelly Oubre. I guess I didn't mention that he's re-signed with the it's a 2-year, $16.3 million deal. I think that's a great value.
Oh, man, you want to talk about taking less money.
15.5 points per game. You know, almost 2 steals a game. Like, this is a pretty nice little piece they've got there. Derek Jones to the Clippers, which if you were listening to this show during the NBA Finals, you know I'm not a big fan of Derek Jones. I think he stinks. But solid defender. Just
suck on that, Kawhi.
He's just useless.
Suck on that. Well, they had to go get a guy who does not want nor will be given the ball because it's going to be Kawhi and James Harden and Russell.
Give him the ball.
So he's not going to ask for it. Just throw him an alley-oop. He is so gun shy now from taking threes. He might not ever take another one.
Yeah. Najee Marshall, 3 years, $27 million with the Mavericks.
Didn't see that coming.
That's
a lot of money.
It's a nice little run he's had with the Pelicans, but that's a guy who was undrafted, was a two-way player, and just shot 40% from three. Like, that ain't bad.
No, respect. Can he do it again on another team? That was a surprise. I mean, it's not expensive by any stretch, but a well-earned contract from a guy I didn't expect to get it.
How about Jonas Valanciunas? 3 years, $30 million with the Wizards. You know, the guy maybe like we talked about
if he had been a Spur available, that's a guy I wouldn't have been upset if they'd have chased.
Do you want a pro to help your big man? And that's what they're doing with Alex Sarr. It looks like giving a veteran pro using that.
I like it. I think he doesn't play the way Sarr does. Valanciunas is the old school refrigerator in the paint, but I think that's a really good get for the money. That's if the Spurs if you'd have told me they'd have signed Valanciunas, I wouldn't have been upset with that at all.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope,
winner,
3 years, $66 million to play for the Orlando Magic.
Clay ain't going to Orlando.
No, and you said winner as a 2-time NBA champion, 2 different franchises, the Lakers in 20 and the Nuggets in 23, and
he's
he's
the guy you need,
a glue guy. And we talk about adults in the room. In Orlando, who's got a pretty young roster, this gives them an adult in the room. And I also wonder if this to them, if it does make Wagner less of a priority. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is.
It does help in the Wagner exit. I mean, but I still think they're shopping Wagner. If they don't get rid of him, I don't think they'll be upset. But he seems superfluous and had a terrible playoffs. He couldn't find the three.
It looks like the New York Knicks are viewing the Oklahoma City Thunder as Isaiah Hartenstein's most likely destination in free agency if he leaves New York. Hartenstein to the Thunder, does that do anything for you?
Yeah. They need a glue guy. They need exactly what we're talking about. They need a guy that's willing to, lessen his game for the others to succeed. Their glue guy right now is a guy like Luguentz Dort. There's eminently replaceable. Hartenstein's good on the front line. He'd play good opposite of Chet Holmgren, I think. And on the other side of that, there's so much young talent on Oklahoma City on the other side. A sign and trade with them would probably be the best because not only do they have young players, they got a lot of draft picks. And I think that the Knicks would certainly covet that.
You know who I still like? And I mean, the people who hate the Chris Paul signing would hate this as well. Kevin Love to the Heat returning to the Heat. I think the deal I saw was 2 years, $8 million. That's nothing.
It's
not like he's going to be a guy, a dude, but again, if you're looking to have like leadership on your team, and you know what, I'm starting to see the Heat are an overachieving franchise, a franchise that consistently outperforms their talent. And I think it's because they like these guys, these veteran leaders. And I mean, they kept around Haslam forever. I think Kevin Love might be that now.
It feels like the Patriots name the mini Patriots signees. You go to Miami, you go to those great coaches and general managers, and there's, I don't know what Kevin Love still does well. I think there's some 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
Certainly one of the best outlet passers to ever play the game. So all they're ever going to ask him to do is stand in the corner and shoot threes and go in and rip and throw some outlets. They'll never ask him to do anything more than that. That will be his only job, and he'll be successful in it until they find somebody else to do it. What a great get. But I wouldn't pay much more, and I wouldn't expect anything other than that. But if that's what you're chasing, plus the mentality of a champion, it seems, of course he's going to Miami to do that. Of course he's going back to play for Spo.
I guess we didn't mention James Harden returning to the Clippers, 2 years, $70 million. The second year of the deal is a player option, which I don't understand. Like sometimes I'm like, I would assume he'll take it, but I never know. Like if you said, James Harden will opt out next year and get
Daryl Morey?
3 more years.
Just follow Daryl Morey wherever he lands.
No, they broke up.
I'm not a system player. I am a system.
Yeah, Paul George.
That's right.
Paul George said, or James said, you go play with Daryl Paul. I'm not doing it anymore. Max Christie, 4 years, $32 million to stay with the Lakers. That's it seems like he's shown a little. Looks like he's going to be a piece for the Lakers. But I guess he is in the way of Bronny getting minutes. Well,
there is that.
We may have something might have to happen there. I think that's about the. Obi Toppin re-signed with the Pacers, 4 years, $60 million to stay with the Pacers, and the Bulls are trying to get out from under Zach LaVine, and they can't. This is according to ESPN's Bobby Marks. There is no market for Zach LaVine. They are trying to give him away and attach a first-round pick. I've been told that by multiple people, and that is not happening. Boy, what a nightmare. You can't attach a first-round pick to the guy and still get rid of him for nothing. Boy, that's how you know you got yourselves a
do you
bad
believe?
contract.
Okay, on its face, do you believe that?
Kind of, yeah. Because Zach LaVine, I think he's got one of those, like, if you looked at Zach LaVine's contract, you'd go, that can't be how much money Zach LaVine makes. And yeah, I think it's pretty bad. Chris Haynes said the Bulls offered the Warriors Zach LaVine for Chris Paul and Andrew Wiggins, and the Warriors declined. I think I would have declined that too. I'd rather pay Chris Paul to go away and keep Andrew Wiggins and have Zach LaVine.
It's funny how 2 years ago, he's still Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
Spurs got a little something.
You want him?
I'm just saying.
Or you just want the first round draft pick that comes with him?
That certainly makes it easier to take.
The Magic did decline Mo Wagner's $8 million team option, but they are discussing a deal currently. But that's with Moritz Wagner, not Franz.
Well, Mo Wagner will probably be gone.
Yeah, they declined his team. I would think that Mo stays if Franz stays. Like they'll say, "Oh well, we can offer you this. We'll give you a little less money, but we'll keep you around. We'll keep your brother around." Maybe he does that.
I was looking at Zach LaVine's contract, set to make 43 this year, 45 and 26, 25, 26. Player option for 48 and 27. Ain't nobody touching that deal.
That's a bad contract.
That's a contract that is
with a first round pick. The Bulls are in a really bad spot as a franchise. Like they don't have a way to dig out of this hole. It doesn't seem.
They're stuck like Golden State was. Eventually, that contract it'll be movable next year, but following that, this year they're stuck with him. They're stuck with him. They're stuck with DeMar. They're stuck.
The Magic also declined Joe Ingles' $11 million team option.
He's a merc. I mean, that's another guy I wouldn't mind see stop by. A shooter with a little bit of swag, a little bit of salt to him. He'll be, there's a lot of those guys.
You know what? And I guess we were off the air. We didn't get to talk about. Did we talk about DeJounte Murray moving?
No, it happened after we left on Friday.
That's what I thought. Yeah, DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. Hawks got back Larry Nance and 2 first-round picks and Dyson Daniels. But boy,
the Spurs fleeced the Hawks.
Oh yeah,
this is one of those epic kind of trades that nobody's going to talk about it because it's the Spurs and the Hawks. But my gosh, did the Spurs take the Hawks to the cleaners on this? I mean, front to back. I cannot envision or remember a trade where one team got so utterly taken to the cleaners than what the Spurs did to the Hawks for DeJounte.
Yeah, other than they really did put it to him. Although I like I said, the Wizards did a pretty magical job with the Bradley Beal, Chris Paul offloading both of those and ended up with a bunch of picks.
But I think that was a deal where everybody knew what they were getting. We know when you're getting Beal, things are going to wind down.
I don't think the Sun. I don't believe the Suns thought that Bradley Beal was.
They should have.
They
should have. They didn't think bringing in. Well, I guess they kind of did feel like Bill was going to be that thing. I know that Atlanta did. I know Atlanta felt like they had taken us to the cleaners.
Mm-hmm.
That those picks, we're not going to need them. We're going to be winning titles. And what a cataclysmic mess that turned out to be.
One other note: D'Angelo Russell picked up his player option with the Lakers, but then we were hearing today about them maybe potentially moving him as part of a deal. So, like part of a deal for Klay Thompson, but I don't think that happens. The more I think about it, I would be shocked if the Warriors and Lakers work together on a deal like that. I don't think the Lakers want to see Klay wearing purple and gold.
And as much as we hear about LeBron LeBron ain't going to take much less money. I don't care what you think, what you say. He just ain't going to do it. It would have to be Klay Thompson willing to bend more than LeBron.
Yep. So there you go. There's a look around at free agency. Let's talk about on the other side the Clippers and where they're now at as a franchise and some of the dreadful mistakes that they've made and if it's fixable. It is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-575-9047.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-9047. That's 800-575-9047.
Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Happy birthday, America! Mr. W Fireworks has been your family-owned and operated fireworks provider since 1963. We are proud to guarantee the lowest prices on fireworks around. And the biggest selection, too. That's right. Here at Mr. W Fireworks, we have the lowest prices on fireworks in the area and with the biggest selection to choose from. At Mr. W Fireworks, we have been doing this a long time. We never charge any hidden fees, and we pass our savings down to the customer. Find our location near you at MrWFireworks.com.
Pork rinds pack a protein punch and are the boldest low-carb snacks out there. Skip the chip and try Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds for that ultimate crunch. And with flavors that will have you craving for more, the time to stock up on Southern Recipe at H-E-B is now. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Be big, be bold, be adventurous.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is great because you're rarely rewarded for just being you. Ever get rewarded for being left-handed? No. You get to use weird scissors. Your reward for being a Capricorn? Cold birthdays that conflict with the holidays. And your reward for quickly responding to every work email? More emails. But with Snapshot, even left-handed Capricorns with proper email etiquette could get rewarded for good driving. So download the Progressive app today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Snapshot not available in all states or from all agents.
Joe Reinagle here. I want to tell you about something that has completely changed my life. I had vision correction surgery at Parkhurst New Vision. The results are amazing. The readers are a thing of the past. Hey, if you're like me and tired of those glasses, call Parkhurst New Vision at 210-585-2020. They offer a variety of services like vision correction surgery. So call Parkhurst New Vision, 210-585-2020, or get them online at sanantoniolasik.com.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Talk about a fleecing. Now, I don't know if this isn't a fleecing because the Clippers were competitive for, well, how was it, 5 years?
I don't think competitive was the plan, though.
No, it wasn't. It didn't work out, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 5 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. This, like, Oklahoma City built a franchise off of Paul George.
It could be as bad. It's a far worse deal than even the Atlanta deal. Considering the output, what ended up with the Clippers, it's not even close to what they thought they were getting.
So here is the statement from the Clippers about Paul George, and this was, I guess this was Saturday, maybe, or no, I think it was Sunday. But he said, Paul has informed us that he is signing his next contract with another team. Paul is a tremendous talent and an elite two-way player. We feel fortunate for the 5 years we spent with him. Over that span, he went to 3 All-Star games, made the most three-pointers in franchise history, and helped the team to a place it had never been. His performances in Game 5 and 6 against Utah in 2021 won't be forgotten by anyone associated with the Clippers. And we traded a lot to pair Paul and Kawhi, and in exchange, we had 5 seasons of contention. Even though we fell short of our ultimate objective, we appreciate the chances we had with Paul. Heading into this offseason, our roster was constructed 3 great players, 33 and over, 2 of whom could become free agents. We wanted to retain them on contracts that would allow us, under the constraints of the new CBA, to continue building the team. We negotiated for months with Paul and his representative on a contract that would make sense for both sides, and we were left far apart. The gap was significant. We understand and respect Paul's decision to look elsewhere for his next contract. We explored an opt-in and trade scenario, but it would have left us in a similar position under the new CBA with very little asset value to justify the restrictions. We will miss Paul. At the same time, we're excited by the opportunities we've now been afforded, including greater flexibility under the new CBA. Kawhi is an all-NBA player, and we believe T. Lue is the best coach in the league. We will field a highly competitive team this season, and moving forward, use our organizational advantages to bring top talent to Intuit Dome. Not to the Intuit Dome, just to Intuit Dome.
Now that Intuit Dome opens next year.
Yeah. This feels like, I know we just lost the guy. We not that they just lost him, but they let him walk away and got nothing back for him. And earlier I said, if I'm the Warriors, it doesn't make a lot of sense to sign and trade because it does affect your flexibility. But Klay Thompson's not, the second best player on the Warriors right now. Paul George is still an all-NBA caliber player that you're just letting walk away for nothing.
Unprecedented. This just doesn't happen. And this falls directly on the Clippers. Clippers had every opportunity to sign him. They chose to go another direction and just to let that money go. Now, LA, I guess, is an anchor. There'll be reason to go play there. But, the fact that Steve Ballmer let this happen, they're going to open this new dome next year, this new Intuit place, and their bell cows are going to be Kawhi if he decides to show up for work.
And James Harden.
James and Russell Westbrook. You think
I'm not a system player. I am a system.
That system going to have to ratchet up just a little bit. They're obviously got some money they can spend now. They're going to, I don't know what they're going to do this year, but they're going to get themselves in the game.
Help me understand how you can you pay James Harden $30 million a year for 2 years, but you didn't want to give Paul George the max. Like, one of those guys can actually help you win right now. The other one is James Harden.
Well, they decided between Kawhi and Paul George last year. They told Paul, you're not going to be here unless you decide to take a little bit less. From what I understand, the initial contract offer never varied. They never went up. There was never any kind of upward negotiation at all.
So they just weren't serious about it.
They were not serious about keeping him. And, they were there together. Kawhi and he were together for 4 years? 5 years. Of the 400 possible games they could have played together, I think they got to about 200 together. And the most was last year when Kawhi, had a pretty decent, played nearly 65 or over 65 games. They never got together. I think that the other flow of talent around them was never consistent. It's just a sign of how not to do things. It looks like the signees were transactional. Like, it wasn't any kind of long-term goal other than the availability of an opportunity, and they took advantage of the opportunity without looking at the repercussions, the long-term. It just looked like Steve Ballmer was just looking for another big name to keep up with the Lakers. Didn't matter if they won or lost. It was just another big name for somebody to go buy a ticket on the nights the Lakers were playing place out.
Yeah. This is such a, now I know hindsight's 2020 and giving up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is like a disaster at this point, but I mean, because let's face it, it was a long shot that he would be.
Oh, I don't fault him for that deal. I mean, you don't know. He was a mid first rounder, and the deal at that point made some sense. I mean, that Paul was at the apex of his career. He was the next great star. He had a chance to bring him to L.A. They still had young, older talent there at the time. No, I don't fault him for that move. It's just been Kawhi and his inability to deliver what they thought, his health, his not being a team leader. And Paul George isn't a team leader either. Both those guys are Batman. I mean, are Robins to Batman. Both of them would prefer not to be the first guy interviewed. They want to be the best guy on the team, but they don't want to be the star of the team.
It's weird, though, that the Clippers are, I mean, listen, Kawhi's never healthy, as we know. James Harden is not, he's not going to get better. Those two guys are going to make $250 million over the next 3 years. Paul George, whatever you think of him, whether you think he's a Batman or whatever, he was the most consistent thing that team's had. I mean, he has been a nice little piece for them, and for them to get nothing in return.
No.
And you know what they signed? Derrick Jones. We'll just give Paul's minutes to Derrick Jones Jr. And then there's like rumors about DeMar DeRozan. Like
that would make the most sense is DeMar DeRozan. There's something about the way the Clippers have decided to operate. It's a name over substance.
Yeah.
And that's a name.
It does kind of feel that way, but to me, the Clippers, and who knows what their title window ever really was, but the Clippers cannot replace Paul George with something better than or equal to Paul George. And that means your team got worse. And you committed more money, more bad money to James Harden. And I just don't understand what they're, and so when I read that statement, when they are like, we plan on being competitive next year, I don't feel like they can believe that. Like, no. I know they got a new stadium, they got to get people in the seats, but how can you, if you couldn't win it with Paul George, and not to mention with Paul George and Kawhi having a full healthy season, how are you going to win it without him? Like, help that makes sense.
Well, looking where they're headed, Brandon Boston, Kobe Brown, Amir Coffey,
those are all made up people. None of those people are real humans.
Terrence Mann, Kevin Porter Jr., that's a loose cannon. Norman Powell, PJ Tucker,
it's
Ivica
just
Zubac. It's average
just a
basketball
mishmash of guys. Like,
it's the Clippers. It's what the Clippers are. They continue to be the Clippers, and you are what you are made to be, and they are made to be the Clippers.
And you know what? Kudos to the Clippers for which has historically been a joke of a franchise. Kudos to them for making a big balls play. It didn't work out, but man, you got to get something for it at the end. Like you had to sign Paul George and do some sort of sign and trade. You can't just say, nope, we couldn't reach a deal with him. It's over.
And they chose to do this. This is the road they chose back right when the season was done. That was their offer. It was about $20 million less than most, and never varied.
That's wild.
They had made their mind up, and
because
it's
Paul
not
George
like Paul
still a guy
George.
Somebody would trade for.
Yeah, but it's not like he was going to lead them gallantly into the building.
No.
This was a team that was falling apart. It's just if you're going to try to maintain some semblance, you got to sign them and trade them away, and that it applies to. I think Paul George is a good comparison to the Dak Prescott situation that the Cowboys find themselves in. I mean, no titles have been found and lots of problems have been had, but he's a caliber guy that you just can't let walk out the door, whether you want him or not.
God, think about that. Porter, Westbrook, Harden,
I'd like to be on that road.
Kawhi.
Squad.
Oh my God! Imagine having to coach these guys.
That's why Ty Lue gets the big bucks.
My goodness, what a headache of a team. Yeah, that's we talked about teams that are going to lose wins. We didn't mention the Clippers.
Yeah, that's one that as the Spurs and I think one or two of the other bottom feeders pick up more wins. Yeah, they're going to take Golden State wins. They're going to take some Clipper wins for sure.
Yep. Golden State wins, Clipper wins are up for sale. And I think actually, who's going to lose some wins, I think, is the Nuggets. It's not as blatant, but I think losing KCP that's a big deal.
And they're a year older. I still like them a lot. I still put them in the top 3 in the West, but they're not what they were. But I think they'll make up for it with a little bit of sting for something that they probably felt like they should have gotten this year.
Yeah, I just think they are a team that you can't really lose a guy like KCP and not have any kind of fall off. But they also, remember last year they lost Bruce Brown, they lost Jeff Green. So it just feels like all the stuff that built them to a title team is kind of falling away. And they've done a good job drafting. Christian Brown's a nice player. And they're probably going to have to move him into the starting lineup, but he ain't KCP.
No, this is all going to be on Joker. For Denver to get back to where they were, it's all going to be whether Joker is going to be a fully committed NBA basketball player, which, not a guy that is the season over, can I go home and run my horses? He's going to have to be a guy that's all the way in, and you're going to have to hope that this season's sting was enough to bring him back, because no matter it all comes down to Joker. KCP here or not, Jamal, he'll be there. But if Joker is not 100% ready to come back and go back and get it, and he let that sting of not getting the repeat, which a lot of people thought he would get, if he's happy with one ring, Denver's done. Well, I don't care who they keep, who they pay, if Joker is not 1,000% on being an NBA champion, I don't care what they do, who they let come and go. They're not going to get there. And you better hope that the sting of getting beaten when you didn't expect to get beat is enough to bring him back. That comeback year that we saw the Spurs bring in, that mentality of we shouldn't have been beaten. If he doesn't come back with that, Joker's going to be a one-ring guy.
Whose disaster is more glaring, the Warriors or the Clippers?
The Clippers, because Clippers got nothing to show for it. The Warriors are walking away with rings and legends.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Most recent, equally, it would be the Clippers if we're just judging the last 2 years. You just don't let a Paul George leave. Klay Thompson, on the other hand, might have a little bit of value that they're going to miss, but everything that Golden State does will be judged against the ring years, and the Clippers are just going to be judged for what they were, a failed attempt.
Yeah. I don't know. The last 2 years are close because of what the Warriors gave up a lot to get Chris Paul and got nothing out of it. But you're right. The Warriors have rings, and Clay brought them rings, and that at the end of the day, that's all that'll get counted.
This all started when Bob Myers left. When Bob Myers left Golden State to step away from the game, that's when Golden State's brain trust really took a hit. You could see it from that point down that it hasn't been the same.
Man, it's funny, man. It's free agency is making and breaking some teams. Like, you have to say right now, obviously Warriors and Clippers, I think, are the two biggest thumbs down, but think about what the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia Sixers, how good they're feeling about their franchise just a couple days into free agency. Some of these teams are making stuff happen. So it's not all woe, but it is nice to see some power shift from the loaded Western Conference into the East, especially if you are a Spurs fan and you're tired of the power all being in the Western Conference. You'd like to see some of those Eastern Conference teams get better. So, you know what? There's one other thing that I didn't mention about the Chris Paul thing that I think is a positive for the Spurs. I think that this basically ends any idea that Trae Young is going to be a San Antonio Spur.
Well, I wouldn't put it past. I don't know if that's done, because Atlanta is still, they got a little bit back for DeJounte, but they're still net negative here. If they're in the rebuild business, they're still not really in the situation to do it yet. I still think Atlanta's got some moves to make, and they might be done with Trae too. But I do think it made it a little bit easier to hold on now. But this is a team that didn't get much better with getting rid of. They got some potential coming back, but this isn't a team that still feels like in Atlanta that they've got work to do. And if the right offer came, and I still think they want some of those picks back for trade to San Antonio. I don't put this still ain't done yet.
You know
or
why?
Dead yet.
You know why I think the Spurs hold on to those picks? Look up find a 2025 mock draft, Edwin.
Oh yeah.
Obviously besides Cooper Flagg, who everybody talks about, but there is a guy named Nolan Traore, who's a French point guard that everyone seems to think is like the perfect Spur. Where's he go? Find that Nolan kid.
Well, we're going to see him in the Olympics.
Yeah, apparently he's like, okay, they've got him mocked 11th. Apparently he's just a stud.
6'5", he's 17, got a lot of flow to him, lean, good at the rim. Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff from him. I saw a highlight of him getting nearly 50 in a game. He's a bucket.
Man. So that's why I think the Spurs want. I mean, the draft's loaded. VJ Edgecombe, who's headed to Baylor, but that's the guy who they
next
mock
year is
four.
About 3 guys: Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, and I think it's KJ Lewis, the one that's going to. There'll be some other guys lifted higher, but those are the 3 Americans that everybody is angling for.
Americans? You think they're going to get drafted?
I'm just saying. This Ace Bailey kid, wait till you see him play. Team USA, there's some guards coming out next year, but everybody's chasing Cooper Flagg.
He's going to Rutgers of all places.
Well, NIL, baby. You living in New York, it's not a bad life.
Rutgers?
He's living in New York.
Somebody had to offer more than Rutgers. That's just going to be a waste of a year for this kid.
Oh, yeah, Liam McNeely, another guy that's highly regarded.
Dylan Harper, too. Yeah, another Rutgers. I guess these Rutgers guys are getting it. Maybe Rutgers will make the tournament. We'll see.
A little bit of money.
I bet they still don't make the tournament, even with both those guys. All right. When we come back, I've got a couple stories I want to get into. One in particular is about what some stolen money was used for. We talked about JaMarcus Russell stealing some money. This woman in Philly, she went next level with some stolen money. It's the Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You're listening to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. KTFM Floresville.
Grill out and chill out with Family Dollar. Enjoy smoking hot deals on cookout classics served with a side of savings. Top it all off with a thirst-quenching drink or frozen treat. Plus, save more than ever before when you use smart coupons. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
It's time for July 4th doorbusters at Lowe's. Now through July 1st, save $900 on a Lowe's exclusive Hisense French door refrigerator. Was $18.99, now just $9.99. And get 3 for $10 on 10-pound bags of Royal Oak charcoal for all your summer barbecues. Shop these deals before they're gone, because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 7/1. Appliance price includes all discounts while supplies last.
When something happens to your kitchen, you might say,
"This is ludicrous."
But that won't fix your home. That will only get you the rapper, Ludacris.
Having trouble? Don't panic. Don't be alarmed. You need to file a claim? Holla at State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's right. You can file a claim on the app or call us.
Thanks, Mr. Chris.
No matter how ludicrous the situation, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
With a true Vegas feel, the Big Blind is the premier poker room in San Antonio, featuring an upscale environment, catering to players from all abilities. From high-octane tournaments or lively cash games, the Big Blind has a game for everyone, including blackjack tournaments. From the owners of the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, the Big Blind is locally owned and operated, offering daily cash games to daily, weekly, and monthly tournaments. Learn more online at thebigblindsa.com. The Big Blind at 281 and Redland Road.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Save money by shopping local for your fireworks at Mr. W Fireworks. At Mr. W Fireworks, we have been doing this for a long time, since 1963. We never charge any hidden fees, and we pass our savings down to the customer. Don't overpay for your fireworks ever again. We are proud to guarantee the lowest prices on fireworks around. And the biggest selection, too. We have locations across area. Visit MrWFireworks.com to find us. Shop local and save 50 to 80% more at Mr. W Fireworks.
94.1 FM. San Antonio Sports Center.
The San Antonio Spurs started free agency off with a bang. They signed 12-time All-Star Chris Paul to a one-year, $11 million deal. The 39-year-old averaged 9.2 points a game, 6.8 assists, and almost 2 steals a game with Golden State Warriors last year. The Spurs might not be done. They do have interest in the Philadelphia 76ers free agent Tobias Harris, who is also drawing interest from Detroit, Utah, and Dallas. I'm Rob Thompson on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
9 o'clock. It's a niner. How come you didn't tell Rob during the break that his camera's off?
Thought he would figure it out.
I try not to look at myself at any point during the day. Let me fix this.
Send him another one.
I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of people are texting me saying,
dude,
I was we don't like AJ in full screen, preferably.
I keep forgetting that I'm on television.
You're a big star now.
I'm picking my nose half the time.
You're a big star now.
I'm having to wear shirts during the show.
I know. I do miss doing the show topless. A woman in Philadelphia is facing felony charges in Florida after investigators say she stole a COVID-19 relief check and went on a spending spree.
Stole it or lied to get it?
Stole it.
Oh,
okay. $184,838 check issued by the Broward County Board of County Commissioners was later mailed to Weston City Hall, and it was funds allocated through the Federal CARES Act, but the check never made it there. Instead, it was deposited into a Bank of America account in Sandy Springs, Georgia, under the name City of Weston, LLC.
So somebody, okay.
The account opened up on March 12th, 2021. The check was issued on February 12th, 2021.
All right. At least there was a little planning. They wouldn't put together the guise of a corporation. I'm down so far.
Days before the funds were deposited, this woman, Ashley Stibbins Parker, is accused of filing a fraudulent certificate of organization for the City of Weston, LLC. Documents say she was listed as a registered agent and organizer with addresses in Atlanta and Philadelphia, where she had a registered driver's license. Before investigators caught on to the scheme, she was able to spend some of the dough using cashier's checks, cash withdrawals, Zelle debits, and a MasterCard that was tied to the account. She went on several plane trips, booked hotel rooms, went on a luxury shopping spree, sent thousands of dollars to several people named in the arrest warrant, and got a new ass, a Brazilian butt lift. She spent $6,250 on. So the COVID money went to her firming things up in the back.
Well, I've never understood with these types. Obviously, you never think you're going to get caught, but I think in the back of your mind, you always know you're going to get caught. Why don't you just go hide the money? No, you're going to do your time, but at some point, go bury some of it under a tree and act like you frittered it away. You know, they're going to get you. They're going to catch you, and they're going to take every bit of money that you have. It's going to happen. You're not going to get away with it. So, have some fun and tell them, look, I spent every dime. I put it in my ass. I put it here. I put it there. But bury some under a tree and come out with a little bit of
when
scratch.
you do get out of jail.
Yeah, because they're going to get you. It's coming.
Well, I don't think they're going to take her ass away.
Well, they can't take that away. Oh, maybe they can.
Maybe. Imagine that. They're like, ma'am, this is a stolen ass. We're going to have to take this out.
I hope it's worth it. Do we have a photo of Ms. Tibbins?
Only her face.
Oh.
She probably should have done some more work on that.
Did you... Did she invest in the proper real estate? No, she didn't.
No, but she figured, you know what? If I got a good ass and some nice clothes, who's looking at my face?
I will say this though: if anything could have been gotten away with, it was all that COVID money. There's billions floating around. We're never going to find.
I think though, it's just you can't be so obvious. And she's facing several charges, by the way: organized fraud, money laundering, and first-degree grand theft. Opposite of her in court isn't going to be the county that she stole from.
No.
It's Bank of America.
And it's a federal crime. And
my guess is that Bank of America has some good lawyers, more than you can. They probably cost more than your ass.
I would say hourly.
Yeah.
The 3 hours pay for that ass.
So,
yeah, she's gonna go spend some time in a pokey.
Yeah, they gonna get her.
I hope that holds up in prison. I hope she invested wisely in her Brazilian butt.
Yeah. Another story. I hate these kinds of stories. I hate when the casino is greedy, because the truth is, I hate when they get mad that you win. It's like, dude, you open a casino. Like if everybody lost, no one would ever go to the casino. You know what I mean? Like if there was no chance to win, who's showing up and playing your games?
But I find that attitude only on sports books. I think they're pretty happy to give you the other stuff.
Well, you should ask Denise Ezel how she feels about that. She finally hit a jackpot, $127,000 jackpot at a progressive blackjack table at Detroit's MGM Grand.
So I was going to say outside of Vegas. So this is in Detroit.
Detroit. The 127K, she's high-fiving.
That was the most money won in that little Kingstown casino that night. Trust me. I think that's an area called Kingstown.
I think so.
Something like that. Yeah.
The dealer congratulated her.
Greektown. I think it's called Greektown.
So she got a straight flush on like the sidebar games. I don't play those blackjack side bet games.
Never.
Because
they're suckers. It's a sucker bet.
I'm a big believer in this, and when it comes to gambling, if it's on the table, it's probably meant for you to lose money.
It's a sucker. Yeah.
They wouldn't put it there if it was good for the player. They put it there because it's good for the house.
So when you finally lose at the sucker and you don't want to give it up, come on.
The casino refused to pay her. She said, I walked out penniless.
Why? What was their excuse for not paying her?
This is a 65-year-old woman. The lawsuit is stemming from an incident that occurred on October 30th of this year, or of last year. This was 2024. But back in 2015, she was accused of trespassing. And basically what it is she was with a cousin that they had a deal. And the way it would work is they would both go in with a few $100. If somebody got short, the other person would float that person until later.
Okay.
In this instance, the cousin didn't want to float her some money. They got in an argument and they said, okay, you got to go.
The casino
did. A security guard came up and said, hey, we got to get you're out of here. They said it was panhandling. And she said, I don't even know what panhandling is. I didn't know what the hell it was. She said, all I knew was I was having an argument with my cousin, and they threw me out.
And they put her on the no-fly list. Like
Yes.
you're not allowed back.
But she said, when's this going to blow over? They told her 2 days. You can come back in 2 days. So she's gone there ever since, from 2015 to 2024.
Poor woman hadn't won enough to get on the radar.
Yeah. You're losing, and it's like, no big deal. But then you win, and they say, oh, no, you're not supposed to be in here. We're not paying you. That's what pisses me off.
Well, did she know?
No.
She didn't. Well, she says she didn't know.
Well, I mean, she's back in the casino playing every night. Like, if they knew her, they would have told her. But casinos welcome you when they know you're going to lose. Like
No, I agree.
Like I say, if you win $20,000 playing blackjack, they don't let you come back the next day. If you win $20,000 spinning a roulette wheel, they'll give you a free night to make sure you come back.
So she won that night and was escorted from the premises before they would write her the check. Like they looked at the video and said, "Oh, you're on the no-fly list." And they escorted her out, and she immediately brought suit, and we're finally getting her day in court today.
Yep. So she was never notified in any way. This is where I think she's going to win the lawsuit.
Well, keep in mind what you're saying is what the defense is saying. That I'm pretty sure that the casino's saying, yeah, we told her, but that'll come out in court.
But I'm sure that they're going to say, hey, do you have evidence of sending an email or making a phone call or sending a text message that says you're prohibited?
I don't know what the law is in Michigan.
I don't either. But they had told her at the time, 24 to 48 hours, you can come back. She came back 2 weeks later, and no one has said anything since.
And by that, I think that might be enough for her to win. But I don't know if you're on the list, whether I think that they're going to end up paying. Because first of all, this is pretty negative publicity, and they're already in trouble. We're already talking about them in Texas. You know, they've already got $100,000 worth of negative publicity out there already. I can't imagine why they let it go this far.
Yeah, it's ugly. But that, again, to me, it's like,
because that's nothing.
MGM,
100,000,
127K, big deal.
They pay that out in Vegas every hour.
Yes.
I mean, there's a progressive slot going off every 5 minutes. For them to fight this, which tells me there's more to this story, that she might have actually been panhandling and might have been doing something to the point where you know what, enough, you're gone.
Yeah, this is wild.
That's so little amount of money.
But the casino watched her lose for years, and then
there is that, which is on her side, you want to impress on them that
I got news. Like, unless you're playing, if you're playing in Vegas, it's different. But in most, and not that Detroit's a small town, but most casinos outside of Vegas or Atlantic City, where there's not just different people rotating through all the time, they know you.
Yeah.
Like the dealers at the blackjack place where I was playing when I lived in Henderson.
Well, you're a regular. You come by, it's your place.
The dealers knew my name.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they know who you are, and the pit bosses know who you are. Like I lived in Vegas for 3 years. My little local casino, because you can't, the good blackjack odds in Vegas are off strip.
Right.
You get paid 6 to 5 at the blackjack tables on the strip. You'll never win doing that. There's a little place by my house, double deck, 3 to 2 blackjack. It makes you money, especially if you can count a little.
And that's why they know your name.
That is why they know my name.
Yeah, well, yeah, they get used to you.
But they also, I didn't have to give them my player's card. I'd show up and the pit boss would say, "Hey, Mr. Hoffman, how are you? Put me on the put my player's card in." And
right,
I'm guessing this is the same thing. If you're showing up at that casino for 20 years, they knew this woman.
Yeah,
and they just don't want to give her any money. It pisses me off. A
well,
65-year-old woman
I'm
working for the
judgment.
city of Detroit. Like,
see, when we accuse corporations of a lot of things, and yes, they're greedy. And the more money, the more greedy they are. But this is so minor, so petty,
that's what
so
I'm
small
saying.
that I want to hear. And the fact that they've decided to let this court and let everyone come up with something like, all right, you say this, This is why we didn't do it.
Not ideal. All right. I've got a list of 1 to 32, the most talented to the least talented rosters in the NFL. Let's see where the old Dallas Cowboys land. It is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You know, the Institute for Functional Health has been my go-to for the last 8 years. If you have come to a time in your life where it is time for you to lose weight, whether it's by your choice, you're tired of looking in the mirror and seeing what you see, or a doctor or a loved one is telling you it is time to lose weight for your very health. Your very life depends on it. So many of us get to that point, failing many times prior and trying to lose weight. Diet is indeed a four-letter word for a reason, because we don't understand how to make it work long-term without the guidance of medical professionals like Dr. Torres, Jacob Torres at the Institute for Functional Health. I was just like you. I had tried before and been moderately successful very quickly, followed by imminent failure. I always put on more weight than I lost. I could not figure out why. Well, Dr. Torres, after what the standard medical procedures that you should get every time you go through a weight loss program, after a couple of look-sees, we figured out one of the reasons that I couldn't lose weight, and it was a chemistry thing. It had nothing to do with my efforts. My body just wasn't going to let me do it until we addressed that. That's why Dr. Torres has been so successful, because it's beyond just the four-letter diet word. It is a lifestyle change that requires medical supervision to be effective. And I'll tell you what, effective, I'm 80 pounds down, and I'm still going to see Dr. Torres because my life has been changed forever. I'm never going to leave this program. You need the same. Call him today and find out why and how you can be so successful. The number's 210-468-1891. Meet with Dr. Torres by phone or in person. Let him explain to you why the success has been so real and so consistent. Go to his website. It's iffhealth.com. Take the functional health test. I promise you it will open your eyes. If it's time to lose weight, if you resolve to do it, get some help. Call Dr. Jacob Torres today. Let him change your life. And when he does, you can come thank me later.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2.
Coming up Monday on The Blitz, Joe Reinego returns with his sunburn from his vacation in Mexico. We'll be all over NBA free agency and what the Spurs might be doing. Stephon Castle had his introductory press conference on Saturday. We'll have the details there, and any more beef between Micah and Malik Hooker. The Blitz, Monday at 2.
The Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons at 2 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You know, I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Summer. What's not to love? Well, maybe not the scorching temperatures. Every day can't be 75 degrees with a nice breeze. So I went to Kohl's and stocked up on stylish looks that'll keep me and my husband cool all season long. I found great prices on linen dresses, cute jumpsuits, comfy polos, and so much more. So bring on the summer heat. We're ready to weather it in style. And all thanks to Kohl's. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Lowe's knows owning a project means owning the right tools. And during Craftsman Days, you can save big on what you need from a brand you trust. Get a free Select V20 tool when you buy a Select Battery 2-pack. Plus, get your choice of the V20 string trimmer or leaf blower for only $99. Find these savings and more today. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 7/10 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor can work with you on a comprehensive plan to help you reach your wealth's full potential. More at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Have you gotten your hands on Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds at HEB yet? Southern Recipe small batch offers big, bold flavors like hot honey, spicy dill, and sea salt and cracked black pepper. Bonus, you're going to love the low-carb, high-protein crunch. Turn snack time from ordinary to extraordinary with flavorful pork rinds. Pick up your favorite flavors of Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds at HEB today.
You know, living here in San Antonio and South Texas, a water softener is almost a requirement. The water is hard. You know this. It affects your appliances and all of that kind of stuff. And the best water softener to buy is a Connecticut quality water softener. Connecticut's been serving San Antonio for over 50 years. They're made in America, up to 80% more efficient than competing models. Got a simple design, fewer moving parts, and the best thing about it is there's nothing to plug in. There won't be an increase in your electric bill. Connecticut quality water softeners are the best in the business, and right now they have got the best deal for you. Connecticut is going to let you try a quality water softener in your home for 90 days, absolutely free with no contract. Call them today. 656-PURE. That's 656-7873 or ConnecticutSA.com. You know the jingle. Sing it with me. Connecticut, the last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE. Connecticut.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Best and worst rosters in the NFL.
You know, this, when you compare talent, is so different from comparing teams.
Oh, yeah.
It is such an eye-opener when you look at teams that have lots of talent, but not the wins to match it. And it's no surprise when you see the names involved with it.
Any guess at who the number one most talented roster in the NFL is?
If I was picking, I'd say 49ers probably have the most talent on it.
That is it. The San Francisco 49ers. And they do this this is listed based on the projected starters.
Mm-hmm.
So they put the 11 projected starters on offense and defense side by side, and they say if this is the 22 guys that they're going to be rolling with, this is where they rank. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs.
And see, I probably, depending on how much you weight you give to your quarterback, like if everybody a value is worth a 6 or a 7, Mahomes is worth 11. He's worth so much more that he brings the average up, but the median is a little bit lower. I wouldn't have put it at the median of talent Kansas City even in the top 10.
I agree.
But as far as sum total, when you add Mahomes in there, he makes up for so much.
Number 3 is the Baltimore Ravens.
I probably wouldn't have put them on that list, but after their off season, you add you add the running back, you add a little bit of defensive help. Yeah,
not bad. Number 4,
Cowboys,
New York Jets. Boy, listen,
that's a curse.
When you talk about non-quarterback rosters, I think I've made my stance on this pretty clear. I think the Jets have a lot of talent. I think the Jets think they have an elite quarterback, and I think they probably have a below-average quarterback. So if I'm wrong on Aaron Rodgers, then the Jets are going to be really, really good. But if I'm right, the Jets are going to be what they've been.
I'm not rooting for you to be right or wrong. I'm just rooting for the Jets to be good and entertaining. I don't care who they beat, how they beat, whether they go to the playoffs. I just want Aaron Rodgers in the Jets in the soup. You know what I want? That's what I'm looking forward to this year.
Number 5 is the Detroit Lions.
Now, when you read that, do you feel like they're that talented?
No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're solid, but I haven't bought into the Detroit, the craze yet. I don't believe they're one of the top teams. Number 6, the Dallas Cowboys.
That's about right.
Says their biggest strength is edge rusher, which sounds about right. We got DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. Those guys are they're pretty good at that. Biggest weakness, no shock, running back. And it says the X factor for 2024, rookie offensive lineman Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe. Assuming they start, they'll play a crucial role in protecting Dak. And it's a bit of a scary proposition for a team with Super Bowl aspirations. Most rookie offensive linemen, even first-round picks, are below average in year one. Dallas needs its picks to overcome the odds.
You know, as a Cowboy fan, if you said, what is the one thing throughout the last decade that the Cowboys have consistently done well? And that is draft and find offensive linemen.
Yeah.
I mean, year in, year out, first round, second round, third round, they consistently, Will McClay has an eye for offensive linemen. Whatever it is, he can pick them out of a crowd. Some guys, some scouts can find wide receivers out of a crowd. The guy they like is always really good. McClay has an eye for offensive linemen. So if you're going to tell me as a Cowboy fan that the weakest part, the biggest concern is that is a little ray of sunshine for what looks to be a very stormy year.
Rounding out your top 10, you've got number 7, Cincinnati. Number 8, the Houston Texans.
I was going to say, where are they now? Because over the last 2 years, no team has gotten more talented quicker than they have.
Number 9, the Buffalo Bills.
They're degrading. They're on their way down, yeah.
And they're another one like Kansas City. How far can your quarterback carry you? Number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Which I would have thought would have been higher. I'd have put them above Detroit.
I'll give you one that's number 11. I kind of would expect it to be higher. 12 too, actually. Miami's at 11. Cleveland at 12.
No, okay. Very different ideas. I think that Miami is looked at as this is a weird system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this offense, I don't count any of that offensive talent because they're in this weird system. Anybody would be,
But I don't think that's right. Tyreek Hill and
I agree.
Think, he's just.
But you look at what you got the speed, you got guys on the edge. They're running this fast break kind of thing. It just feels like they're not getting the credit for what they're doing very well. They're discounting the fact that Tyreek Hill is really, really fast, and they're using him to his nth degree. I don't think they're getting the credit they deserve. On the other side, do you really think Cleveland is talented? I don't see a lot of talent there.
I think their defense is incredible. I think that Nick Chubb is a stud. I think if Deshaun Watson, you talk about X factors, what if Deshaun Watson turns back into the best version of Deshaun Watson?
Well, they've got 3 studs. That's it, in my mind. I mean, they've got them in the right positions, but they've only got 3, and Chubb is the least of the 3.
Yeah.
I mean, you can rush the passer, which I think obviously by the weighting system matters. But if you'd have told me Cleveland
offensive line.
Yeah, but I can't name anybody. So I guess that's a tribute
in the
to
trenches,
to their OC. I mean, to their scouting department and what they've managed to do, Stefanski and all that. Because I can't name a whole bunch of guys on that team.
All right. I want you to tell me the bottom 5. And I'm going to tell you, I was shocked because the one that I thought was going to be dead ass last was 27th. Didn't even make the bottom 5.
When I think the least talented teams in football, I think New Orleans, Charlotte, or Carolina, and Washington.
Carolina is 29. Washington is 30. My thought was New England.
Yeah, you know what?
New England's 27.
And New Orleans, obviously, in there.
No, I'm trying to find New Orleans.
They're probably in the mids, but I just don't know about. Okay, so the least
New Orleans, they got 20th.
My goodness, worse than Carolina.
So 28 is the Arizona Cardinals. Fair.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that.
Number 31 and 32. These are the 2 least talented
Where's
teams.
Tampa on this list?
They're like 24, 23.
Jacksonville? Well, no, they got enough. Jacksonville's got talent. Wow, this is going to be an indictment of some team when we hear it.
Number 31 is the Denver Broncos. Who the best thing about their team is their offensive line.
And it's kind of by design. I mean, Peyton got in there and kind of exited some talent. So this is on purpose, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You got a rookie quarterback, the defense that they really did kind of hit reset on, and you're hoping that Sean Payton can outcoach a lot of their problems. Number 32, the New York Giants.
You know, the depths of my soul, this just makes me happy for lots and lots of reasons. One, because the Jets are picked to have so much more talent, which makes this whole inner city thing more interesting. But, you know, as a giant hater, I always kind of figured they were low on talent. And I guess it was the exit. I guess once Waller retired, that big free agent get they had a couple years ago, once he left, they felt like, well, the cupboard's now dry. No, they got nothing. They really, what else? Who is the biggest name on the team? Is it defensive lineman?
Dexter Lawrence. Like I think Dexter Lawrence is probably their best player.
Who's that kid they got out of Oregon a couple years ago?
Kayvon Thibodeau.
He's probably good. That's about it, right?
And Brian Burns is good. Their defensive line is good. The rest of their team is horrific.
Nothing.
Their secondary is dreadful. Like they drafted Malik Neighbors, who I think is going to be good, but you're talking about Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary at running back, Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson are your receivers. Like,
if Wan'Dale can get off work,
yeah,
if he can get time off on Sunday, he might start.
Oh, yeah, it's bad in Washington. So there you go. Your most and least talented teams in the. It's nice for Dallas, 4 spots ahead of Philly, and 2 division rivals are number 30 and 32. That you know what? If Dallas doesn't win the division, that means that's on the coaches, right?
I'm telling you, it becomes whenever you start counting down talent, and it was a problem with previous coaching staffs. The Cowboys, despite what you think of Jerry and Steven and Will McClay, they're pretty good at scouting talent, and they're pretty good at re-signing talent. For the most part, though, they tend to overpay and pay them late. They do tend to do it. They're always a talented team. It's always an indictment on the coaching staff, the circus that goes on around the talent. And here we go again.
All right. Let's hit a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show. We're going to go out to the desert, see if we can make some money. And yeah, take a look at the Vegas lines. It is
Spurs, baby.
The Morning Huddle right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams July holiday sale and get 30% off paints and stains from June 28th through July 8th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select a new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
Joel, I'm proud to introduce my latest in-summer relaxation relief occasion. I call it the Quarter Moon Grill and Go. It's a stainless steel propane gas grill with this, a full-size urinal. If you're gonna grill and you gotta go, it's the Grill and Go.
Folks, at Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC, we fix plumbing and AC issues fast and at a fair price. 210-651-5899.
Grill and
go away, Nigel. Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC.
License number TACLA 88589E and 16004.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Lowe's knows owning a project means owning the right tools. And during Craftsman Days, you can save big on what you need from a brand you trust. Get a free Select V20 tool when you buy a Select Battery 2-pack. Plus, get your choice of the V20 string trimmer or leaf blower for only $99. Find these savings and more today. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 7/10 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, Jim Rome here, and back in the military city of San Antonio. Join me weekdays at noon, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Morning Huddle, 94.1, baby. San Antonio Sports Star. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Today's Bobby Bo Day.
To those who
congratulations.
celebrate, it's Bobby Bonilla Day.
He's buying the drinks tonight.
Man, this is I'm sure everybody knows at least the basics of Bobby Bonilla Day. That Bobby Bonilla gets $1
million,
$1.19 million a year through 2035. Every July 1st.
You know, and I know that the Mets have come and offered to buy him out, and he said no.
No. And it's funny because when they made that deal, they owed him, I want to say it was like $5.9 million is what they owed him. And they did a deal with him. We're going to pay you every year with interest for 25 years. By the time it's all said and done, he's going to make $30 million instead of just 5.9. But the idea was the Mets were going to use the $5.9 million to create an annuity where their dividends were going to pay back pretty well. And it freed up that money from the payroll. The problem is when they decided to create this annuity with a securities investor, the investor that they chose was a guy named Bernie Madoff.
Didn't work out very well.
You may have heard of him, but the Mets money did not return any dividends. So not only did they not make the dividends that they'd hoped, like you could have given that $5.9 million to Bobby Bonilla and been free and clear, or you can give it to Bernie Madoff and then pay Bobby Bonilla $30 million anyway.
Set their money on fire and it burned their other money too. Like, oh, man, we just ruined everything. They didn't do a single thing right here.
I mean, the entire time that Wilpon owned the Mets, it was like a disaster, Fred Wilpon. And then they sold it to Steve Cohen back in 2020. But it is funny that
one of the great sports deals of all time. This one, I think there's an Iverson legend contract, and then the ABA team that continues to get paid.
Yeah.
That never actually existed.
Last major league appearance came 22 years ago.
He's like 60. He got to be in his 60s now.
Let's see. How old is Bobby Bonilla now?
He's my age. He's 60. Well, he's a little bit older than me. He's got to be over 60.
That's awesome, man. Good for him.
Good for him, man. I know the million doesn't mean as much as it did a year on 15, 20 years ago, but $1 million here, $1 million there. You're talking serious money.
I think it still feels good, I bet. It's got to feel good. He's gonna be getting this money until he's in the 70s. I mean, that is incredible. And Bobby O'Neill was a good player for a while, but
those Mets in his era with Strawberry and that crew, that was a fun team. Darling and that crew.
And he was like a I remember when they were young, it was Bobby Bonilla and Barry Bonds on the Pirates, and they were kind of the young 1-2 punch.
Yeah, they went different directions.
They did. Although I think Barry's happy with his choice.
I don't think anybody's mad to either one of them. Turned out all right.
I think that he's happy with his choice. So, all right, let's take a look at the Vegas lines.
It's the Morning Huddle's look at the daily lines with AJ and Rob on 94 Sports Star.
Wimbledon going on. Carlos Alcaraz. Man, this sucks for this Lehal guy who's from Estonia, it appears. He's got the Yuri Prohaska haircut.
He's got the best hair at Wimbledon.
But he you play Carlos Alcaraz in your first round, you're probably like, damn it. And he's been super competitive. He's lost the first 2 sets in tiebreakers. Like, that sucks. It's like you got this guy on the ropes, and you're going to end up losing in straight sets probably. But Carlos Alcaraz, your second favorite to win Wimbledon, plus 250. Jannik Sinner is the favorite, plus 185. And if you think Novak comes back and plays well and gets the job done on one knee, plus 350. And if you believe that Daniil Medvedev, the man without a country, can get the job done, plus 3,500 on Daniil. So there's some money to be made.
If you know what you're doing. I don't know any of these guys, nor do I have any idea what I'm doing. So
I ain't the one going to win the money
good luck
for you.
With all of it. Although I do like this guy's hair. Lehal.
It is good.
If we could get this mushroom thing passing through to the next round, I'd be in it.
Iga Swiatek is the favorite on the ladies' side. She is 3-1. Coco Gauff and Elena Rybakina.
Now, the 3 seed for the ladies has withdrawn. I don't know. I couldn't tell you her name, but I just saw in the scroll that the 3 seed has withdrawn.
They're both Coco and Elena are both plus 450, and Madison Keys plus 1,400. I don't know. Oh, Jessica Pegula, whose dad owns the Bills, is 20-1.
Nepo baby.
But 20-1 at Wimbledon must be pretty good.
She's pretty good. I give her credit, but
as you can see, I'm looking all this up on my phone because my foolproof plan of not forgetting my laptop, it wasn't prepared for a Monday after a weekend.
If you were my son, I would have you putting your laptop next to your keys, put something valuable in there, in the bag, like the wallet.
Fools never learn. They never learn. Major League Baseball today.
Yippee-ki-yo!
The Houston Astros, who are now 3.5 games out of first place. They are quickly gaining ground on the Mariners. They are minus 142 favorites on the road. Hunter Brown at Yariel Rodriguez and the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't want to get in the way of that Astros train right now. I can tell you that much. They are a day game today, though, at 2:07. One of only 3 games on the board today.
Brown is hot pitcher, man. I like Hunter Brown.
I think the Stros may be the go there. The New York Mets take on the Washington Nationals
in celebration of Bobby Bo Day.
That's right. New York Mets minus 115 favorites with David Peterson on the mound at the Nationals, and the Milwaukee Brewers. Bryce Wilson going to the hill for them. They are at the Rockies, and Austin Gomber. Go ahead and guess the total. What's the total in this Rockies Brewers game?
Yeah, I'm going to say 11.
11.5.
Ah, it's close.
And Brewers minus 155
only 3
favorites
games.
here.
Only 3 games today.
Only 3 games.
Is this a nod to the soccer world with CONCACAF and Euros going on?
My guess is the typical day off in baseball is you're usually either off on Monday or off on Thursday.
Right, and Thursday's
4th of July. They probably have everybody playing, so they said we'll schedule days off on Mondays. Speaking of that Euro, you've been watching this Euro soccer,
man. It's compelling.
You're not committed to a team yet, though.
No, I'll tell you, watching the Brits, a bicycle kick in the 94th minute. I'm amazed that I witnessed that. I didn't think in my life I would ever see an actual bicycle kick performed, and then one to win a Euro Cup thing. That was enough to keep me in it, man. I don't have a favorite.
Have you bet on it yet?
No. And I'm not gonna. I don't want to soil it with my grubby monetary needs.
I can't even imagine watching it if I couldn't bet on it.
I'm the opposite. It would ruin it for me. Because right now I don't have a dog in the fight.
I've got to have an interest.
See, my interest is I don't have an interest. You know what I mean? I don't, because I will lay money on the wrong team. I'll pick the wrong one. So I'm enjoying watching it with no vested interest at all. I can cheer for maybe an underdog. I certainly enjoyed the Italians going down.
Do you even know who the underdogs are?
I probably would have. You just look at a game like I would have bet on the Italians. I would have lost. I mean, that just seems to me that would have been an easy route to go. The Brits, dang near give it away.
So there's two ways to bet these soccer matches. You can either bet the three-way line, which is a side A, side B, or a draw. Or you can bet where draw is no bet.
Well, I can tell you I have a favorite. I think the Germans are going to win this thing.
Okay.
Of the what I've watched, of what little I know, the Germans are playing at home. This whole thing's in Germany. They look pretty good, and they come in, it feels like, with a little bit of a lead before the game even begins, because it's just so much. I think if I was a betting man, so how would I bet?
You can bet them to win the whole thing?
Win it all?
4-1.
4-1. I put my money where my mouth is right now.
Spain, 4-1, but neither of them are the favorite.
It's the French. Still.
The Brits.
Oh, the Brits now.
English plus 350. France plus 650. Portugal plus 750. And the Netherlands are 11-1. After that, you get into some kind of long shots. Switzerland's 14-1. Austria 16-1. Belgium 30-1. Isn't Belgium usually pretty good at soccer?
Well, they're going to play the French today. They talk about a backyard brawl.
Yeah. The longest shot is Slovenia. They are plus 25,000. So 250-1. If you think Luka is going to suit up and
I'll tell you what, the Slovenians and the Georgians, I appreciate. The Georgians were fun to watch. They got beat yesterday.
The line today, Belgium is against France. If we look at the no draw bet, so just like who's going to win, and if it's a draw, there's no bet. France minus 270, Belgium plus 210. Portugal is against Slovenia today. Portugal is a minus 1,200 favorite. And the Netherlands take on Romania. Netherlands minus 900. So we've got a bunch of lopsided ass matchups set.
But we're headed toward Clash of the Titans here if it all plays out.
It looks like there's a couple good games coming up like Friday, Saturday. So Friday is Spain against Germany. The no draw line there is minus 125 Spain, minus 105 Germany. So that's a tightly contested match.
It looks like Germany is getting a little credit for playing at home.
Yeah. And then England is minus 205 against Switzerland, plus 155 coming back for the Swiss. So I don't know. Listen, I'm going to be busy, but
I've already scheduled my time. I'm not going to be paying attention.
Yeah, you tell me how it works out.
I will say this is a neophyte, and this is something for Brigade Bar soccer fan out there. I have no dog in the fight for any soccer team anywhere in the world, including my own.
Okay.
But I enjoyed the style of play that the Euros play more than what I see from, like, yesterday, Uruguay and Brazil. It's just different. And
what's different?
I don't know what to tell you other than it feels like the Euros play a little bit more downfield. You see a lot more forward passes where the guys are sprinting down. They're trying to get those angles where it just seems like the Latin American game is more predicated on an individual skill. You know, like my guy's better than your guy. Go get past him and make a shot. You know, I enjoy that Euro style. Am I wrong? Did I watch the wrong games, or is there a different flow to how they play on this part of the world as opposed to there?
I like how we play here in America.
You mean losing?
Yeah.
Losing style?
Poorly and not that often. That's what I like.
Well, if we can get ourselves and beat the Uruguayans or the Bolivians, whoever we got next.
Listen, you know what? I'm as much of a patriot as anybody, but I hope Bolivia and Uruguay win because I know their players probably get their families beheaded if they don't win. So I just say, you know what, man, let them have it.
It felt like that when
they're
Brits
from Uruguay. Let them have one good thing in their life.
Let me tell you, if the Brits had not have won the other day on Saturday, and they were playing like, was it Georgia or one of those little tiny countries? It felt like there was going to be a national purge. Like they were not going to be allowed home.
Yeah, and they still tied, right?
They ended up winning.
Did they win?
The bicycle tied it, and then Harry Kane, the guy that they were ready to hang an effigy for the first 90 minutes that he played, finally scored in the extra time to kind of.
So they scored 2 goals in
in 3 minutes. They scored 2 goals. They're down 1-0, and the 94th minute, the guy scored with like 15 seconds to go. They tie it up. They go into extra, and then they scored right after extra minutes started. So they had 2-1 lead, and they just played it out like the Panthers played out the series. Just passed around and killed the clock.
Damn. We're almost to the All-Star break, and the Home Run Derby is making a change. Have you read about this?
No, but I'm of all the things that I felt pretty natural that they'd hit on it right. I felt like the Home Run Derby was that one made for TV event that I still enjoy.
Well, the players have started to complain about it.
Too many swings.
And I will say Major League Baseball is like of all the All-Star games, Major League Baseball does their weekend better than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the only one that interests me remotely.
Completely agree. So why are they messing with it? Just too many swings at the bat? They get tired?
The players they're like, man, we're worried about injury and we just feel exhausted. Like it's too intense of a session. So what they're doing is trying to reduce the pace.
Okay.
And within every player's timed round, the hitter will now see a maximum of 40 pitches. And to put that into perspective, all of the participants in last year's Derby averaged over 43 swings per round. So they're getting anywhere from 43 to 47 swings in, and they're like, let's just limit that a little bit. So since they moved to that timed format in 2015, there's been no, set amount of swings. Now they're going to do it. They have 3 minutes in each of the first 2 rounds, 2 minutes in the championship round. And also it's going to change now where the first round is no longer a head-to-head bracket.
It just totals.
Instead, the top 4 first round scores go to a semifinal bracket, and it gets broken down 1 seed versus 4, 2 versus 3 from there, which I don't know if that, all I know is now more than ever, the benefit is going late instead of early because you know where you've got to get to. So the 3-minute rounds are 40 pitches, 1 timeout. You can get 3 bonus outs where every swing is a home run or an out, and a 425-foot homer earns you a 4th bonus out.
Like a 4-point shot.
Now in the finals, it's a 2-minute round, and it's 27 swings.
It's funny. Every bit of improvement that baseball has been offering over the last several years is all about speeding things up. Everything they're doing is about speeding the process, fewer pitches, all of the things that kind of match the modern idea of what sports should be. They're just speeding everything up and making it easier to watch.
You know what? And I've been looking at this wrong. I've been thinking 40 swings. So they've averaged 43 swings per round.
Though. Yeah.
They will get a maximum of 40 pitches. That means like if your batting practice coach throws a bad pitch, he just wasted one. So now it's like there's even more, focus on efficiency.
I always wondered why they didn't use the jugs or the pitching machine, so you get the the repetition of exactly where you want it. I always wondered why why dudes bring it their fungo coach or their their pitching coach or their dad. I've seen a couple of times.
Yeah, I don't know.
I never unless it's why don't they use something that you know is repetitive and repeatable.
I think because it's more important to try and see the pitch coming out of the hand.
I'm sure there's a lot of reasons, but it just seems like if you're gonna limit the number of pitches and one bad pitch, you eliminate the human part of it. But
I've always thought like I guess they do hit off the machine down in the cage underneath.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they do batting practice, it's out there with a human.
I get it, but it just seemed like to eliminate the human error part of this, especially now when your 75-year-old fungo coach is not feeling it that day.
Yeah, every one of those pitches is costing you some money. Interesting.
Where's the All-Star game this year? Is it in Texas?
Yeah, it is. I forgot about that. Yeah, they had a bunch of stuff up there to talk about it. And one more story, an Olympian that I'm going to keep an eye on. This Wayne Kaladi.
You say that like I should know this.
She is a U.S. Olympian. And
what sport?
Track.
Track, okay.
But she does a 10,000 meters.
Oh, okay.
And she had run for 30 minutes, and she wanted to win. She's like, she knew she was going to go to the Olympics regardless if she won or not. And she fell behind, but she busted her ass, surged back up, and got the lead and finished first, which I like. But she did it at Eugene, Oregon, where she went to school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a cool story for her getting to kind of bring things full circle. But when she moved away from her family to America, and she'd been there, and she was like, yeah, I'm not coming home.
That way we can give her the uniform. If she went home, she wouldn't be able to run for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
where's she from?
It doesn't say. I don't see exactly where she came from originally. You'd think they'd put that in the article here. But it is kind of a cool story that she like committed herself to being here. So I'm for it. Do you see it, Edwin? Do you see
I'm looking. I see her holding a flag.
Wayne Kaladi. Man, I don't know.
She's American now. That's all that matters.
Yeah, she's one of us now. Good. Bring her on. Born in Eritrea. Are you familiar with that?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, of course you are.
A country on the African continent, right on the water.
In the Sada Christian Central region of Eritrea.
Beautiful country.
I don't know, but she's Team
Just
USA now.
North of Djibouti.
Oh,
just north of Djibouti.
Okay. Yeah, I never bother going north of Djibouti. I have
some of us aspire to go south.
Djibouti and south for me. That's what I've always. That's always been my rule of thumb. Always the rule of thumb. What is so funny, Ron? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, we got a chance to say Djibouti on air. It doesn't come around very often. I'm looking at the Djibouti flag.
Okay.
It's green and light blue with a singular red star.
Okay. With the red star right in the middle.
Right.
Huh?
Perfect.
Man.
Eritrea.
I would have gone with.
You know what the capital of Eritrea is?
I would have gone with a brown star, but.
Well, no, the Eritrean flag is not nearly as nice as the Djiboutian flag. But can you name the capital of Eritrea?
No. I didn't even know it was a place until just now.
Well, its capital is Asmara.
Okay.
They're a totalitarian government. The U.S. and the Eritrean government, we don't get along.
Oh, really?
It turns out that we're not friends. So we got her and we kept her.
They're probably not thrilled about that.
They're just over the Red Sea from Israel. Just a stone's throw away. You can they can see Israel in their backyard.
Will Eritrea have an Olympic team?
I'm assuming yes. Well, I think their breakdancing contingent is one of the best in the world.
I think we got their best.
Well, they're not sending their best and brightest.
I think
from Eritrea to the United States.
I think they sent their best runner, though.
Well, see, he was quick enough to get over the border.
That's right.
But the breakdancing, the trampolining, it's all Eritrea.
Nice. That'll do it for the show. Guys, we're only doing 3 shows this week. You just got one of them.
But we packed a full week into one day. You know what I mean?
Boy, we had a lot of NBA, and I'm sure we'll have more NBA to talk tomorrow. You want to hear Joe Reinagel? Get off my lawn, Chris Paul. I think you're going to hear that from Joe today at 2:00, and Jason's going to try to defend it. Should be fun stuff on the Blitz. We'll be back tomorrow at 6. The Morning Huddle, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
This is 94.